Hey, how are you doing? We have something very special for you today on this broadcast. We're going to do an interview with our brother Kevin. All right, Kevin is from Venezuela. Okay, and we have an interpreter here just in case you're going to try to turn it off because you said, well, I don't speak Spanish, so I don't understand what he's going to say. We have an interpreter here as well. But we kind of want to allow our brother to speak. There are some things that he wants to share. And along the way, we're going to ask questions to everybody. So do me a favor, share this broadcast out wherever you are, even those you all that are here, if you can, share this broadcast out. It's on one of my pages. It's on here. You know what I'm saying? And you can go ahead and share this broadcast out. All right. And you know what I like to do, usually on broadcast anyway, is I love to start it out with prayer. And you all, as you're leaving comments, let me know. Let me know if you can't hear or anything like that, okay? But I want to know, drop your comments. Let me know where you're coming in from. Father, in the name of Jesus, I thank you for every single person that is coming on this broadcast. Right now, Father, I pray for the spirit of life to begin to be poured throughout this broadcast. Let rivers of living water be released. Lord, you said with all of our get understanding. And so let the fire of understanding grace this broadcast like never before. We bless you, God. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Come on. What up, Harold? What up? What up? Come on, you all. I want you right now to share this broadcast out. This is going to be good. You know, this is the thing right here. We have heard a lot of things, right? We've heard about the migrants, right? We have people who are like, man, I don't want them here. You got some people saying, man, I do want them here. You got people saying, well, we're going to help them. You got people saying, we're not going to help them. You got some people saying, well, I'm in the middle. We hear in the church speak about it. But the one thing that we don't get to hear is we get to actually hear somebody who will be classified as a quote unquote migrant. We haven't heard their voice. And so we want to lend voice to them. We want to lend voice to them. Okay. Oh, wow, Harold. Wow. Praise God. Come on. Come on. So share this broadcast out. This is going to be really, really good. Really, really good. And so first, I want you to introduce yourself to everybody.
Para todos, para que lo conozcan.
Buenas noches a todos aquellos que siguen este live, que se conectan por las redes.
Good evening to everybody that is connecting right now in this live video.
Mi nombre es Kevin Alegría y vengo a compartir un poco acerca de la historia de quiénes somos los venezolanos.
My name is Kevin Alegría and I'm here to share with you who we are as Venezuelans.
Come on.
Espero que puedan interactuar con nosotros y puedan hacer sus preguntas que vamos a responder.
And I hope that you're able to interact with us and ask us your questions and we'll be able to answer them.
Yeah. So this is really going to be a great Q&A. I want you to ask questions. I don't care what the questions are. We want to keep it raw. We want to keep it as real as possible. And so in doing that, Kevin, I think one of the major questions that a lot of people will want to know if they were to come to somebody from Venezuela and they're here in Chicago, they will want to know, why are you here? What brought you here? So if you could take us on your journey and let us know what brought you here, take us behind that.
Entonces queremos conocer más de tu jornada y que nos digas por qué estás aquí.
Primero que nada, gracias por el interés.
First of all, thank you so much for your interest.
Y hablaré ciertas cosas en nombre de mis hermanos venezolanos.
So I am going to say certain things in the name of my Venezuelan brothers.
Y algunas experiencias que tuve yo antes, durante y al llegar acá.
And I will share some experiences that I had before coming, during my journey of getting here.
Para responder esa primera pregunta,
So to answer this first question,
básicamente nosotros los venezolanos
so basically us Venezuelans,
tenemos aproximadamente más de 10 años migrando de nuestro país.
we've been migrating and leaving our country for the past 10 years.
Y migramos por razones obvias, porque buscamos estabilidad económica, calidad de vida.
So we migrate for obvious reasons, like looking for economic stability and having like a better life,
Oportunidades de estudio.
and even opportunities to study.
Y ahorita la brecha es Estados Unidos.
And now the point where we're going to is it's been the United States.
Es algo chistoso porque estamos a 8 países de suelo americano.
So it's interesting because we have like 8 countries that, you know, from Venezuela to take us here to the US, it take us 8 countries to go through.
Y es algo que puede causar molestia el por qué nosotros, estando al otro lado del continente, podemos llegar acá aún sin visa.
You know, and it can be burdensome or worrisome to some people why some of us that we're all the way, you know, on the other side of the continent, we are able to get into the United States without a visa.
Pero básicamente Estados Unidos porque existe algo que es una marca a nivel mundial, que es el sueño, querer vivir el sueño americano.
So there is something that it is a world mark, renowned mark of the United States, that is everyone wants to live the American dream.
Okay, so I'm glad you said everyone like wants to live the American dream. So what I want you to do for us is I want you to take us through like that day that you decided, you know what, I'm coming to America. How did that happen? Was it like you heard a message saying, hey, come to America? Did you hear God speaking to you? Did you get a text message? Like what happened? What that was that moment that made you say, I'm gonna get up and I'm coming to America.
Alguien le recomendó que fuera a los Estados Unidos, cómo llegó a esa decisión y empezó la jornada para llegar acá.
Básicamente fue una decisión que fue impulsada a tomarla.
So it was a decision that I was prompt to make that decision.
Más allá de que podamos ver el propósito o que podamos certificar acerca del propósito de Dios en esta decisión que tomamos.
So even though there is a component of the purpose of God in this decision that we made.
Y digo tomamos porque va a ser muy raro conseguir una persona que diga que se vino solo.
Because I would say we made, because it is really rare and hard for someone to say that they got here alone.
Pero recuerdo a uno de los compañeros de infancia que viajó conmigo.
But I remember one of my childhood friends that came with me.
Que se quejaba constantemente acerca de la situación, de que no alcanzaba el sueldo, de que trabajaba mucho y ganaba poco.
And he used to complain a lot that his basically his income was not enough, and he was working so many hours but still not making it.
Y la situación con sus hijos que están pequeños y no hay una educación digna para ellos.
And he also was concerned with the education of his children, just because they did not have a worthy education that they needed.
Y básicamente partimos desde esa idea.
And so we went from that point of view.
Okay. So with that point of view, were there any other countries you were considering, or was it always America? And if it was America, why did you pick America?
Y dijo, si cosas que ha considerado otros países y si sí ha considerado o si no ha considerado, ¿por qué América?
En lo particular, siempre yo había considerado salir del país. De hecho, intenté salir hace aproximadamente 6 años.
So I've always considered wanting to leave the country, and I actually considered it 6 years ago.
Pero solo llegué a Cúcuta.
But I
Colombia.
only went to Colombia, Cúcuta.
Y no duré mucho
And I didn't stay for long,
y me regresé a Venezuela.
and I went back to Venezuela.
Pero si preguntamos a muchos de los migrantes que han llegado acá,
But if we ask so many migrants that have come here,
la gran mayoría salió hace 6, 7 años de su país.
majority of them left the country 6, 7 years ago.
Vamos a conseguir personas que vienen desde Perú,
We have people that have come from Peru,
Ecuador,
Ecuador,
Argentina,
or Argentina,
Chile,
Chile,
Paraguay,
Paraguay,
entre otros países.
and the other countries.
Pero yo salí directamente desde Venezuela.
But for me, in my case, I left straight from Venezuela.
So take us on that journey, because I've noticed
Entonces, llévanos a esa jornada porque yo me di cuenta
that a lot of people don't really know the journey that you all took
porque mucha gente no conoce como la jornada que ustedes han tomado para llegar aquí.
to come here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Básicamente en la planificación, en mi historia es bastante cómica.
It says that his story is very funny
Porque todo inicia con la idea en grupo,
because everything started with an idea that we had as a group,
pero cada quien tenía que buscar los viáticos para el viaje,
como las
es
finanzas. y
decir,
todo.
el dinero.
But everybody had to look for their own resources, financial resources to go and start the journey.
Yo trabajaba por mi cuenta en Venezuela.
I used to work on my own in Venezuela.
Soy profesional de la salud.
I am a healthcare professional,
Pero mi último trabajo era de Uber.
and my last job was as an Uber driver.
Me tocó vender mi vehículo.
And I had to sell my vehicle.
Y es chistoso porque concreté el negocio 1 hora antes de salir de viaje.
It's funny because I was able to complete the transaction 1 hour before I left.
Pensé que no iba a viajar.
I thought I was not going to be able to travel.
Y terminamos siendo un grupo de 31 personas.
We ended up being a group of 31 people.
Wow.
Decimos primos porque crecimos juntos, jugamos baloncesto juntos, nos criamos juntos.
So I usually call ourselves, and we call ourselves cousins because we were childhood friends. We used to hang out together since we were younger.
Entre esas 31 personas habían 7 niños
And among those 31 people, there were 7 children.
y el mayor tenía 8 años.
And the oldest of the children was 8 years old.
Nuestra travesía, tenía un presupuesto mínimo de $1,500 para llegar
So
a los Estados Unidos.
for our trajectory, it would take us like $1,500.
Cuando salimos en lo particular, nosotros que somos de la capital, de Caracas, salimos de Caracas a Maracaibo porque es la frontera más cerca hacia Colombia por el lado de la costa.
So we left Caracas, we went to Maracaibo, another city that it was the closest to the border of Venezuela.
Llegamos y al entrar a Colombia, un lugar que llaman La Raya, Maicao, pasamos a una ciudad que se llama Montería, luego de Montería, Necoclí.
So we went to the border from Venezuela to Colombia, and then we went to Maracaibo, a city in Colombia.
Antes de cruzar a Colombia.
We went to Maracaibo before going to Colombia.
How long did that take?
¿Cuánto tiempo llevó?
So like
desde Caracas, 12 horas a
Like
frontera.
from Caracas to the border to get to Colombia, it took 12 hours.
12 hours. So did you drive? Did you walk?
Manejó,
Did you-
caminó,
how did you get there?
No, veníamos en autobús.
and they were in a bus.
They were on the bus.
Yeah.
So they were on the bus for 12 hours.
Mhm.
Okay. So tell them, okay, they were on a bus for 12 hours. Then what?
Y después, ¿qué pasó?
12 horas de Caracas a Maracaibo, de Maracaibo a Maicao a 5 horas más.
And so from Maracaibo to Maicao, that is Colombia,
En Maicao sí ya
and
es frontera.
it was 5 hours. So 12 hours and plus 5 hours to get to Colombia.
On the bus.
Mhm.
Okay. So then after they got to Colombia, then what happened?
Y después que llegaron a Colombia, después que
Después que llegamos a frontera con Colombia, pasamos 2 ciudades para llegar a
Then-
Montería.
they went through 2 cities and then they went to another city called Montería.
On the bus?
También en el autobús.
Sí.
Okay.
Mhm.
De Montería llegamos a un borde de la costa que colinda con Panamá.
And then they were able to go from another city on the coast to go to Panama.
Okay.
Se llama Necoclí.
It is a city is called Necoclí.
Anteriormente, esa ruta que nos costó un paquete en lancha que duraba más o menos aproximadamente 1 hora mar adentro, $400 por persona.
So to go through that trajectory, it costed them like $400
Okay.
per person.
Okay. Wow.
31 people per person, $400.
So did you have to I've heard stories
Él ha escuchado historias
even from some of the Venezuelans that have been here
de unos de los venezolanos que ya llegaron aquí.
through a translator, of course,
Y claro, por medio de un traductor.
because I don't speak Spanish,
Yo no hablo
Okay.
español.
that some of them have had to go through the jungle.
Algunos tuvieron que ir como en al mato.
Did you have to go
Y
through the jungle?
tuvo usted que pasar
la
por
selva.
el mato o por la selva.
Sí, todos los que,
Yes, all of us.
la gran mayoría,
And then the majority of them.
tienen que atravesar la selva que colinda entre Panamá y Colombia, que es lo que llaman el Darién.
And so en Darien se llama?
La selva del Darién.
So there's like the jungle called Endaria that is from Panama to Colombia that everyone has to go. Majority of everybody has to go through.
So take us on the journey through the jungle. What is that like? What do you see? What happens? And does everybody make it?
Dinos más de cómo es la travesía ahí en la selva. Cómo lo pasa uno. Hay muchos que sí sobreviven.
Okay. Nosotros, luego de haber tomado la lancha, comenzamos a subir una parte de una montaña.
So after we gone through, there's a part of a mountain that we have to climb.
Todavía del lado de Colombia.
And that is still on the side of Colombia.
Y llegamos a un punto de control, por decirlo así.
We had to get to a point where it's like a control place.
En donde nos asignan un guía.
And so where they have to assign you a guide.
Eso está cubierto entre los $400.
And that's where the
Que
cost
pagamos
of
anteriormente.
$400.
So if you don't have $400 for a guide, you basically have
Entonces,
to
no tiene los
walk through the
$400,
jungle on
usted
your own?
tiene que pasar por la selva solo.
Sí.
Right.
So some people basically walking through the jungle on their own with no
Y
guide.
hay gente que sí pasa por la selva solo.
Sí, anteriormente
So-
no estaban esas rutas.
So
No existían.
before, in the past, those routes were non-existent.
Por eso la gente se tardaba para pasar de Colombia a la selva del Darién, tardaban a veces un mes y medio.
So sometimes people would take like a month and a half to go through the jungle.
Mm.
when
Para
they did
poder
it,
atravesarlo.
because there was no routes, to guide you.
Yeah. So, what's the craziest thing you saw in the jungle? Because
¿Cuál fue?
I'm from Chicago.
Yo soy de Chicago. ¿Cuál fue la cosa más loca
I
que
don't
usted
know
ha
what a
visto en
jungle
la-
is.
Yo no sé lo que es una selva.
The jungle to me looks like
Para mí, la
going
selva
outside and it's a bunch of crackheads outside.
para mí, la selva es como ver un montón de locos allá afuera.
I'm just saying, you know.
Ah, la selva, para los que no la han atravesado, es un mito.
So for those that have never gone through, the jungle is mystical. It's like a, it's like a, yeah, it's like a mystical thing.
Ah, me acuerdo que vivíamos viendo noticias acerca de por dónde, cómo, averiguando los precios acerca para poder conseguir economía.
Because as we still had to look for research and find out things about it so that we could get the finances to go through.
El presupuesto era $1,500 por persona.
Per person, they were supposed to pay $1,500 to get to America.
Ya habíamos gastado 400 más el pasaje entre la frontera de Colombia a Caracas.
They spent $400 to get from Colombia to Caracas. Still the expenses from Colombia to Caracas. They still had those expenses plus the $400.
Esas rutas no existían antes, pero ahora todo es un comercio desde el punto de frontera hasta que llego acá.
But in the past, those routes to get to the jungle, they were non-existent. But now they're actually making a business out of it, where when you get to the border in Venezuela, you can pay to go through and get to the United States.
La ruta que nosotros pagamos tenía 3 estaciones.
The route that they paid for had 3 stations.
Antes de llegar al punto más alto entre Panamá y Colombia, que es la cima de las banderas.
Before getting, and there's the highest point that they reach that is between Panama and Colombia, dijo?
Yes.
Between Panama and Colombia, that has a lot of flags, is the highest point.
De hecho, es lo que todo el mundo postea cuando llega a la bandera, ve banderas de muchos países. La gente se toma foto en ese lugar.
And so many people, when they go through in that highest point, they take pictures.
Antes de llegar ahí,
And before arriving there,
hay 3 campamentos, como lo mencioné.
there are 3 stations.
En el primer campamento,
The first station,
le entregan a uno un brazalete que supuestamente garantiza nuestra seguridad.
they give you a bracelet that guarantees your safety.
Y nos entregan un campamento para que reconozcan con qué guía nosotros transitamos.
And then there's another station where it confirms which guide will transition you to where you need to go.
I have a question. The bracelet that guarantees your safety.
Entonces, dime más sobre ese bracelete que
Guarantees your safety from what?
garantiza tu seguridad de qué.
Realmente es una treta, es un negocio
Honestly, it's just a business.
donde está metido la gente de la guerrilla colombiana.
Because many of the ones from the guerrilla or what's the name of it?
Paramilitares.
The military, I'm trying to find the English name, but the military Mexicana,
Colombiano.
or Colombian guerrilla, they're part of.
Es,
cartel, yeah.
Or the
sí,
part of the cartel.
Yeah.
Es obviamente un negocio porque una Coca-Cola abajo antes de comenzar a subir la selva
Yeah.
de litro me puede costar ¿qué? $1.50.
Because it's all a business, because if you get let's say a Coke, it could be $1.50.
En el primer campamento esa misma Coca-Cola me costaba de $5 a $8.
But if he goes to the first station, he would cost him $5 to $8. That same Coke.
Yeah.
That was cheaper.
Wow. So here it is, to everybody who's watching. And by the way, share this broadcast if you haven't already shared it. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. If you're just now coming in, we're speaking to our brother Kevin. Kevin has come here from Venezuela. We've been hearing a lot of things that have been going on. So we kind of wanted to give a voice, to those that we drive past in our cars and see or whatever, but we've never heard them speak. We want to kind of give them a voice. So share this broadcast out if you haven't, if you desire to. I think the next thing I want to go to is, so here it is. You're a healthcare professional. He's a healthcare professional. A lot of us understand what healthcare professionals are, right?
Entonces, muchos de nosotros entendemos lo que son cuidadores o
and
trabajadores de la
I'm
salud.
glad that he said he's a healthcare professional, because the narrative that we as Americans here
Porque la verdad es que nosotros aquí
are
estamos
now,
viendo
just to let you all know how organic this conversation is. We have a few people that are sitting around right now. I'm just going to organically say this to them.
decirles esto.
When you hear about the Venezuelans, what are some of the words that we usually hear about them? The migrants coming here. Unemployed. What else do we hear?
They're getting out of jail.
They're getting out of jail. What else do we hear? Y'all can say it. Come on. Drug dealers, criminals, rapists,
Yeah.
lazy. What else? Okay. So we're sitting here. This is and for the record, you all, before we go on, there are many professional people that are here. I personally have met. I met a guy sleeping in the police station who has 3 degrees, including a master's degree. And he said, I said, what made you come here? He said, we're only making like $20 a month, So he was like, man, like this is what they live off of. Not a day, a month. I met a guy who operates like a big old crane truck. He was showing me the videos of them. These are like real people who had real lives, you know what I mean? And uprooted and came here. And so we have to be careful, us that live in this country, that we don't allow our bias, of how we view these individuals because of narratives that have been put on the news or what we've learned in school, to make us see them through the views of what others have said that they are. This is a person who had a regular life. Any healthcare professionals on here? As a matter of fact, if you're a healthcare professional, we even got a healthcare professional here. If you're two of them, if you're a healthcare professional, I want you to drop a comment on here right now, because you can relate. This could have been you, okay? A healthcare professional saying they want to come here. Yeah. Okay. What is the question?
How did they eat while they were in the jungle?
How did you eat while you were in the jungle? Oh, and one more thing. By the way, you all, I forgot to put this on the heading, but we're asking questions, okay? I want you to ask questions. Any question you ask on here, all right? We're going to try to get it answered. So please drop questions on here. This is an open forum, all right? Okay, so go ahead. So did you ask? Okay.
Las ideas de sobrevivencia salen, o sea, nos acompañan desde que salimos de Caracas o desde Venezuela.
So like the idea of how to survive, we carry that since we were in Venezuela.
A llegar ya a Colombia antes de agarrar la lancha.
So before we left from Colombia, going ahead,
nos recomiendan comprar solo productos no perecederos, enlatado, pan, galletas, mermelada.
¿Y la lancha es como un barco o como?
Sí, es como un yate.
Oh,
Una cuestión así parece.
So they have to get a yacht, like a boat. And before they got there to get the boat, they were already advised to get things that are not perishable, things that are in cans, so that they are able to survive.
Sí, en lo particular se recomienda mucho usar panela en Venezuela se llama panela de papelón. en otros países se llama piloncillo, que es como una panela hecha de azúcar.
So like they basically are recommended to eat this item that is basically like is an item that is made of sugar.
O sea, nosotros teníamos suficiente comida para atravesar la selva.
And they had enough food to go through the jungle.
Éramos 31 personas.
There were 31 of them.
Pero cuando llegamos al punto más alto,
But when they got to the highest point,
el guía nos dice que en 8 horas salimos de la selva. Y había mucha comida que pesaba.
so the guide said that they would be able to get out of the jungle in 8 hours, and a lot of the food that they had was weighing a lot.
Y hicimos lo posible por comer todo lo que podíamos.
We did the best that we could to eat as much as we could.
Y resulta que no eran 8 horas de camino.
And we ended up finding out it was not 8 hours that
Yep.
we had,
Ya hasta la bandera nosotros nos echamos 2 días.
but it took us 2 days
Y
since we left the flag.
desde la bandera
From the flags,
a los que la gran mayoría pasaron por ahí, un lugar que llaman Bajo Chiquito, que es un punto supuestamente migratorio, un punto de control, pero no es un punto de, o sea, está instalado como punto de control, pero es una estrategia de comercio.
but they had to go to another point. They call the control point, where it's for the immigration point, and they usually say that, but it's not, and it's another point where they make money.
Y nos habían dicho que eran 8 horas
They said 8 hours we'll be out of there,
y realmente faltaban 2 días más de camino.
but we had 2 days to go through it.
Nos quedamos sin comida,
We stayed without food.
solo podíamos tomar agua de las cascadas, de lo que caía y se unía al río,
They were only able to drink water from the waterfalls
y comer panela.
and also eat like that sugary item to keep the energy.
Wow. I know this sounds tripped out what I'm going to ask you, but what does water from a waterfall taste like?
¿Cómo se sabe? ¿Cuál es el sabor de la agua de la cascada?
Realmente, bueno, son principios de sobrevivencia, pero esa información no la dan antes de comenzar a subir la montaña.
So that information, they actually give it to them before they go up the mountain.
Really?
Que no podemos beber agua de estanques ni de ríos.
They're not supposed to drink waters from rivers or stagnated water,
sino de los manantiales que desembocan en el río.
but from, waterfalls that go into the river.
Y es increíble porque el agua es muy, muy extremadamente limpia.
But it's amazing because the water is extremely clean.
Creo que nunca habíamos bebido un agua tan deliciosa en la vida.
I think we've never drank such a delicious water in life.
I got to put that over. Tell them I got to put that on my bucket list.
This is a powerful revelation. I'm sorry.
Yeah, tell them I got to put that on my bucket list. That I got to drink some waterfall water.
Okay.
Yeah. Obviously, I got the wrrong water right now. Okay. So I want to ask.
But it's really like a living water.
Wow.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
I know. Okay, this is deep.
So we have some people starting to ask some questions. So I want to, for those of you all that are asking them, I'm going to ask those questions. I just want to get this one thing out just to tie everything together. And then I promise, like all the questions, we got you. So I want you to tell us, because there's been a lot of controversy here in America about the Venezuelans crossing the border.
Y digo que hay mucha controversia porque hay muchos venezolanos que están cruzando la frontera
And then getting sent to Chicago.
y están siendo enviados a Chicago.
So I want you to take us through that journey.
Yo quiero que nos lleve por esa trayectoria también.
Tell
Esa
us
jornada.
Tell us your
Okay.
step by step
Tienes paso por paso.
Okay.
of once you got to the border
Cuando llegaste aún a la frontera
and everything that happened from there.
y todo lo que ha pasado con eso.
Okay. Voy a ir un poquito más rápido para poder cubrir cosas que creo que son
What did he say?
He's like, he's gonna go a little bit faster to cover some things that he thinks are important to be mentioned.
Yes, tell him by all means. Take his time.
Toma tu tiempo y
Yeah.
cuenta la historia.
En el paso por la selva
So when they were going through the jungle,
se ven muchas cosas.
you see a lot of things.
Like what?
He's gonna say.
But I mean, this is an interview, though.
No, I know.
Yeah. I mean, just tell him. Just tell him. Oh, okay.
Como que,
I mean, we talking.
He's gonna say it.
Recuerdo que el primer cadáver del que pude saber.
Que he still remembers the first cadaver. Is it like the
dead body.
Dead body.
Yeah, cadaver is a dead
It's
body.
a dog. Sorry, I'm like using the medical term. But the first dead body that he was able to see.
Antes de que fuese cadáver, yo hablé con él.
He spoke with this person before he saw this person as a dead body.
Wow.
Recuerdo que íbamos bajando. Siempre creemos de que desde que comenzamos a subir a caminar la montaña, creemos que lo más difícil es la subida.
So for them, it's like every time when they start going up the mountain, the part that is the hardest is going up.
Pero realmente es muchísimo más difícil la bajada.
But honestly, going down is way more difficult.
Había llovido.
It rained.
Había mucho pantano.
It was like really a lot of sliding trails.
No había de dónde sostenerse.
It was hard to like grip and have your foot.
Y hablaba con
steady.
este personaje y yo le decía.
And I was talking to this person and I told him.
Si a mí me hubiesen dicho que esto era así, yo no me hubiese venido por aquí.
If they would have told me that this was the way it is, I wouldn't have come this way.
Porque hay rutas
Because there are
menos
routes
peligrosas,
that are less dangerous,
pero muchísimo más costosas.
but more expensive.
Entonces, él me dice, para cómo están las cosas en Venezuela, recuerdo,
And he still remembers what he said. He said, but the way things are in Venezuela,
yo prefiero 1,000 veces pasar esto.
I'll go through this 1,000 times.
Wow.
Y
Wow.
luego, era una persona de contextura bastante, sí,
You know, and this person was a person that was in the heavier side.
y no lo volví a ver porque yo me adelanté.
I didn't see him again because I went ahead of him.
Y cuando me entero por personas porque muchas veces nosotros hacíamos descanso de 15, de 25, de 45 minutos.
And sometimes they would do breaks of 10, 15, 25 minutes.
Porque caminábamos casi 12 horas continuas.
Because sometimes they would walk for 12 hours continuously.
Y
Wow.
sí escuchaba gente hablar acerca de un tal Gocho.
¿Gocho?
Sí.
¿Cómo era su nombre?
No recuerdo el nombre porque no nos presentamos, pero
Gocho
le
son-
decían Gocho. Gocho son las personas que son de los Andes,
Exacto.
de una parte fría de Venezuela.
Aga. So they use it. He still heard people talking about a cocho. So cocho is is somewhat from a certain part of Venezuela that is like a little bit cold. But he was hearing people talking about this guy, but he did not know his name.
Y recuerdo que varias personas me dicen, ¿no viste al gordo que estaba bajando las banderas?
And they were like, you didn't see like that big man that was going down after the flags, like going down the mountain?
Y yo le pregunto, ¿cuál gordo?
And I was like, which big man?
Me dicen, uno que llevaba un bastón.
It's like it was a man that had like a rod with
Y yo
him.
le pregunto que si era uno que tenía ojos verdes.
I said, did he have blue eyes or green eyes?
Y me dice, sí.
They're like, yes.
Y yo le pregunté, ¿por qué?
It's like, why?
Me dice, fue uno de los que vi, los primeros muertos que vi. bajando la bandera.
And the person told me, oh, he was one of the first dead bodies that I saw.
Y me impresionó porque yo hablé.
And it really got to me because I spoke with them.
Pude haber sido yo.
It could have been me.
Más allá de eso, conozco también un caso de una persona, mujer,
And then after that, I also I was aware of another case of a woman.
que tenía un canguro donde colocan a los bebés en la
And
parte de al frente.
So she had like one of those holders for babies. I forgot the name of it, but baby carriers. There we go.
Y nos tocaba lo más impresionante es que habían parte de la ruta marcada.
And the most impressive things is that there was a part of the trail that was marked.
Que lógicamente era imposible pasar por él.
And logically, it was impossible to go through them.
Y recuerdo que ella iba con la bebé
And so she was going with her baby.
por un lugar, por un umbral que había un paso a la vez.
It was going through a trail where you could only give a step at a time.
Tenían que sostenerse con una cuerda.
And you have to hold to a rod, like a rope to go through
Sí,
it.
resulta que no sé cómo sucedió, pero la bebé se le desprendió del canguro
And so what happened is like the baby fell off
y cayó al despeñadero.
and fell, from one of the rocks.
Y ella se lanzó para
And she went after the baby.
fallecieron los dos.
And both of them died.
Oh, wow. Wow.
También.
So basically, if you all are just tuning in, just to recap that, I think this is important that these things are spoken about, because so often we can look at people, right? And for instance, you see somebody who's just sitting here, right? Got clothes on, just sitting down. And we all have a story. You never know what a person has seen on their journey to get to a certain place. And so here it is, somebody he just talked to, the big guy, now he's dead. Now you see a woman with a baby carrier on a mountain, the baby falls off. So you naturally see your baby fall off, you're gonna go after the baby, and she falls off too. And I think this is something that we really need to keep in mind too, especially those of us that are going out, ministering to those that are coming over, those that are helping them with clothing, things like that. We want to be aware of a lot of the trauma that they went through just to even come here. You know what I mean? There's already a lot of trauma from the things that have been seen. And our heart goes out to anybody watching, any person who's came over, who's lost loved ones or seen the traumas or anything like that. But tell him he could pick up wherever he wants to start off from.
Okay. Más adelante, mucho antes de llegar al primer campamento de la Guardia
And so
panameña,
after we went through it and we were about to get to the station in Panama,
llegué a ver a otra persona.
I saw another person.
Y lo curioso de esto es que por eso es que digo, hay mucha gente preparada, gente profesional que viene.
And like I said, there are so many professionals that are ready that come to the United States.
So many professionals from Venezuela.
From Venezuela, ¿verdad?
Right. Mm-hmm.
En el grupo de los 31 que venían conmigo,
And this group of 31 people that came with me,
hay un médico forense que está acá en Chicago.
so we have a forensic.
Forense, médico forense.
So we had like a forensic doctor, like almost like a pathologist.
Y vi a una persona que estaba muy edematizada, muy hinchada.
And it was a person that was super swollen.
Y él nos explicó y nos dicen que, por ejemplo, cuando un perro muere
And he explained that when a dog dies
y tiene días de muerto,
and has days after he died,
tiene un
this-
olor
it died,
particular.
it has a particular smell.
Pero cuando una persona muere
But when a person dies
y tiene días
and
en
has
descomposición,
days of decomposition,
tiene un olor que no es igual que el del perro.
it has a smell that is different from a dog
Es un olor particular.
and is very particular smell.
Y, esa persona dice él que por el olor más o menos podía tener 5 días ya de haber fallecido.
And this person could have noticed that this person that was swollen probably was dead 5 days ago.
Y bueno, conocí otro caso de una familia entera
I also got a case with a whole family
que al parecer se durmieron a la orilla, armaron una carpa a la orilla del río.
so they had their tent really close to the river,
Yeah.
like at the edge of the river,
Y al parecer creo que entró una culebra a la carpa.
and a snake went into the river
Y
and to the tent.
picó a 2 de ellos.
Did bite two of them,
Y la esposa,
and the wife,
tuve la oportunidad de verla después de que todo eso había ocurrido. Ya tenía 5 días dentro de la carpa con sus muertos.
the wife was in the tent with the dead bodies for 5 days.
Estaba pasando por un trauma obviamente muy fuerte.
And she was going through a very strong trauma.
No quería seguir caminando.
Did not want to continue walking.
Suplicaba que la dejaran morir ahí.
She was begging to allow her to stay and die there.
Pero no la pudieron dejar.
But they were not able to leave her there.
La vi en el primer punto de control en Panamá.
And when I went to Panama, the first station, I saw her there.
No supe más de ella, pero
I've not learned anything about her afterwards.
de las historias más dolorosas, creo que esa para mí fue la más dolorosa.
But for me, that was the most painful story.
Wow. So, and just tell them, like, my heart goes out to you.
Entonces también mi corazón va hacia ti
for what you went through.
por lo que has pasado.
I just want to say I'm really sorry for what you had to see
Lo siento por todo lo que has
and what
visto
you've had to endure.
y por lo que has tenido que prevalecer.
And by the way, you all, if you all just feel, somebody left a comment, they said, wow, this makes me realize how much we often take for granted.
Muchas veces alguien dijo que muchas veces que subestimamos.
Truly, really makes me give thanks unto God. I want you all, while we even going into this next part, if you just feel led or compelled to whether pray for our brother, to pray for just anybody who's coming over, I just think it'll really be a good time if you so desire. So is it okay if he takes us from the border to Chicago, or I tell him I just want to make sure I'm not leaving anything out with him,
No sé si
that he's
si
allowed
quiere,
to, yeah.
si usted quiere hablar de cómo desde que llegó a la frontera hasta Chicago, o si tiene más algo que quiere contarnos también está bien.
Sí, voy a ir un poquito más rápido.
I'll go a little bit faster.
No, tell him no rush.
Digo,
No rush. Yeah.
Toma tu tiempo.
En la selva
He said in the jungle,
llega un punto antes de llegar a Panamá
there was a point like where they had to, before they arrived to Panama,
donde nos cobran por trasladarnos río abajo como en canoas.
they had to like charge them to go through canoes to go through it.
25, 30 hasta $40 por persona.
$25, $30, even $40 per person.
Hasta llegar al punto que llaman Bajo Chiquito.
Until they go to a point called Bajo Chiquito.
Ya estamos prácticamente en Panamá.
And they're practically in Panama.
Llegamos a ese punto de control
When they got to that checkpoint,
y sí, efectivamente estaban oficiales de migración Panamá.
and there were officials from immigration of Panama.
Pero es obligatorio quedarse ahí.
It is, they have to. It's like it's a requirement for them to stay there.
Una hora para cargar el teléfono son $2-3.
So 2-3 hours for you to charge your phone. That's what it costs.
Para yo poder colocar mi carpa para dormir, tengo que pagar por el espacio.
And he has to pay for the space to put his tent to sleep.
Literalmente tengo que pagar por todo.
And he has to pay for everything.
Por eso es un punto comercial.
So it was like a commercial point.
Luego de ahí tenemos que pagar el día siguiente
But then the next day they also have to pay
a otra canoa para que nos lleven a Panamá.
another canoe to go to Panama.
5 horas arriba abajo.
¿Sí?
5 horas.
Or for 5 hours.
Yo alcancé a ver babas, nutrias,
¿Qué es baba?
monos, son como cocodrilos.
Cocodrilos. Like he was able to see like alligators, monkeys.
Llegamos a Panamá
And when they got to Panama,
y básicamente todo el que pasa la selva cree que no va a caminar más.
many that go through the jungle, they don't think they're gonna walk again.
Panamá sí la atravesamos en autobús 12 horas hasta la frontera con Costa Rica.
From Panama to go to Costa Rica, they had to go for like 12 hours.
En Costa Rica nos tocó quedarnos ese día. El día siguiente salimos hasta Nicaragua.
So from Costa Rica to Nicaragua, another country,
Aproximadamente unas 17, 20 horas.
20 hours. Caminando.
No, en autobús.
And they went with a bus.
Okay.
Pensamos que todo iba a ser así hasta Ciudad de México.
And they thought they were gonna just go with the buses until they got to Mexico.
De Nicaragua pasamos a Honduras.
And Nicaragua, they went to Honduras.
En Honduras nos hacen a juros bajarnos para sacar un salvoconducto que no utilizamos.
And they have to like go to Honduras to basically get like a type of permission, but they basically don't use.
Luego llegas al terminal, del terminal compras pasajes para frontera con Guatemala.
And then from Honduras, you have to get like into the border to Guatemala.
Son aproximadamente 12, 17 horas.
About 12 to 17 hours.
En Guatemala nos tocó quedarnos 2 días.
And in Guatemala, we had to stay for 2 days.
Porque nos quedamos sin dinero.
Because we had no money.
Ya el presupuesto que traíamos de $1,500 ya se había acabado.
And all the budget that we had for $1,500, it was gone.
Hay mucha gente que viene en camino y se ha quedado varado mucho más atrás que Guatemala.
And so many people they came and they even were way behind Guatemala.
Afortunadamente no me robaron ni me violaron ni a ninguna de las mujeres que andaban con nosotros en la selva.
Okay. Well, the good thing is he was blessed that they were not stolen, like their items were not stolen. The women that were with them were not raped while they were there.
Pero hubieron muchos que no corrieron con la misma suerte.
But many of them did not have the same luck.
Wow.
Que fueron secuestrados.
They were kidnapped.
Violados.
They were raped.
Hubieron muchos que se resistieron al robo.
And many that resisted the theft.
Y fueron terminados muertos.
And ended up being killed.
Luego de eso llegamos a frontera, porque llegamos a frontera Guatemala, de Guatemala a Ciudad de Guatemala son como 18 horas más.
And then when they got from the border to get to the city in Guatemala, it was like another 18 hours.
Y de Ciudad de Guatemala a frontera con el primer pueblo que se llama Tapachula, en México. Fueron como 8, 12 horas más.
And then from the Guatemala City to Tapachulo, that is in Mexico, was another like 8 hours. 8 horas, ¿sí?
más o menos.
Yeah.
Ya estando en México,
And then being in Mexico,
hay personas que trabajan para ciertos carteles
the people that work for certain cartels,
y se encargan de captar personas diciéndole, yo te llevo hasta el terminal, por tanto, no tienes que bajarte en migración, yo pago los retenes.
so the cartels, they go and say, no, you just pay me, I'll take you straight like to the border, and you don't have to like go all through these checkpoints in Mexico.
Tuvimos que pasar el río entre Guatemala y Tapachula.
And we had to go through the river between Guatemala
Y,
and Tapachula in Mexico.
Tuvimos que permanecer dentro del río
And they had to remain in the river
como por 45 minutos.
for 45 minutes
Hasta que la guardia no nos detuviera.
until the, basically immigration would have it would keep them.
Wait. Hold on.
Hold on.
Un momento.
Ok.
Un momento. I know that much. Un momento. You had to wait in the water, like
Se quedó en el río, en el agua,
no boat or anything for 45
por
minutes.
45
Era
minutos.
como una especie de balsa hecha de
Balsa como canoa, ¿o cómo?
sí, pero era hecha de tablas como con tripas de carros.
Okay, but it was like the type of boats that was made of like car pieces and wood and
Algunos pagaban 10, 20, hasta $80 por pasar de ahí.
some would pay $10, $20 to $80 to go through.
Pero como decimos los venezolanos, la verdadera película comenzó fue en México.
It's like, honestly, like we Venezuelans say, the real movie started in Mexico.
En México no nos dejaban transitar directamente, sino que nos hacían entrar obligatoriamente de pueblo en pueblo.
They not let us go through to Mexico City. They had to go from town to town.
Y de Tapachula
And from Tapachulo, where they got in,
a Ciudad de México
to the city of Mexico City,
hay un alrededor más o menos como de 20, 25 pueblos.
20 to 25 towns. And they were obligated, like it was a requirement. They had to go in, come down, then get another bus, and then go to the next point.
Wow.
Estando en Tapachula, llegamos ese día como a las 7:30 de la noche, más o menos,
So they arrived at 7:30 p.m. in Tapachulo, in Mexico,
en un terminal de transporte.
one of the bus terminals.
Y vamos a agarrar, en México le llaman combis a las vans.
And so the vans that take them through is called combis.
Y queríamos agarrar una combi de donde estábamos a un terminal.
They wanted to get a combi from one point to another terminal.
Y nos decían que no podíamos,
And they said that no, they can't,
porque éramos migrantes.
because they were migrants.
Entonces, fue bastante complicado en México,
It was very complicated in Mexico
porque la mafia, los carteles,
because the mafia, the cartels,
están apoderados de este negocio.
they are controlling this business.
Wow.
Hubo un pueblo donde nos tocó quedarnos
They had to stay in a town
una noche,
for one night.
y hubo otro lugar que era otro pueblo mucho más adelante de Arriaga, de un pueblo que se llama Arriaga,
And there was another town called Arriaga,
que nos tocó quedarnos 2 días
and they had to stay for 2 days
sin comida,
without food,
sin dinero.
without money.
A veces yo en lo personal me preguntaba cómo la gente podía ser tan inhumana,
Sometimes I would ask, how would people be so inhumane?
porque pedíamos cola
But we would ask for a ride,
y no se detenían.
and they wouldn't stop.
Recuerdo que en un lugar nos estaban cobrando 1,200 pesos por persona por un viaje aproximadamente de unos 15, 20 minutos en moto.
¿Y cuándo es eso?
1,500 pesos son como $120.
So he remembers there was one, like they were charging, uh, 120 dijo?
más o menos.
Like they were charging 1,200 pesos, which is $120 for a 15-minute ride.
Wow.
Y hubo un lugar en donde nos recogió una persona
So a person that picked them up there,
diciendo que nos iba a dar la cola.
that they said they were going to give them the ride.
Y nos dice luego que nos lleva nos lleva a su casa.
And saying that he was going to take them to
Cuando
their
llegamos a su
house.
casa, cuando llegamos a su casa,
And when they arrived at the house,
nos comienza a contar acerca de una historia.
and the person started telling them a story.
Que el lugar era muy peligroso,
That this place was
que no
dangerous.
podíamos seguir caminando,
They should not supposed to be
que teníamos que
walking.
pagar sí o sí para
They-
que nos pudieran sacar de ahí al siguiente pueblo.
That they would have to like pay, to get into another town.
Por un momento sí sentí que nos iban a hacer algo,
And I felt for a certain point that they might do something to us,
porque la persona dice,
because the person said,
tienen que pagarme $50 y yo cuadro yo me arreglo con el oficial de migración y con la policía.
and because they was telling them, this person that gave them the rides, like, you guys need to pay me about $50, and I'm going to have an agreement with the immigration,
Porque realmente no podemos transitar de noche.
because you guys cannot transition overnight.
Nosotros me acuerdo que decidimos seguir caminando.
So what we decided as a team was to continue walking
A cielo abierto, en una carretera donde no hay demarcaciones, donde no hay luz, donde no hay nada.
in a street that there's no light, there's no demarcations of the street, there's nothing.
Eso era como a las 8 de la noche.
It was like 8 at night.
Como a las 4 de la mañana conseguimos alguien que tuvo la amabilidad de detenerse.
At 4 a.m., we were able to get someone that was willing to give them another ride.
Y nos dice que nos va a dar la cola hasta el siguiente pueblo.
And they said they're going to give them the ride to the next town.
Y rodamos aproximadamente como 35 minutos.
And it took them like 35 minutes to get there.
Y nos detuvo la policía.
And the police stopped them.
El oficial nos detiene, nos manda a bajar de la camioneta.
And the police asked them to get out of the van.
Le dice a la persona que no puede trasladar migrantes.
And warned the person that they cannot, give rides to immigrants, to the
Nos
migrants.
bajan y nos dejan en ese pueblo y el conductor se va.
Entonces we came down and the driver left.
Ya habíamos caminado mucho.
And we already walked for so long.
En
Wow.
México yo creo que caminamos la selva como en lo personal. Hay gente que camina menos, hay gente que camina más. Pero en lo personal yo creo que la distancia de lo que recorrí la selva del Darién como 2 o 3 veces.
So I feel like in Mexico, I walked 2-3 times what I walked while in the jungle back, from Colombia into Panama.
Somebody said, who was doing the raping, killing, and stealing?
¿Quién estaba haciendo?
Was it other citizens
¿Quién,
or was it the authorities that were there?
¿Quién normalmente hace como estupran las mujeres y roban? ¿Quién son las personas responsables?
Según los carteles.
They say like it seems like it's the cartels.
Okay.
Sí, ellos son los que tienen todo tomado.
They have everything. They own everything.
De hecho, me acuerdo que en una oportunidad llegamos a un pueblo y yo le pregunté a una chica que estaba vendiendo tacos.
And so I remember I went to a town and I was asking to a girl that was selling tacos.
Y yo le digo, desde mi posición, yo comprendo que para ustedes es un trabajo el paso de nosotros por cada pueblo.
That I see that maybe this is a job for you because, especially for us that as we're going through each town.
Entiendo que eso genera ingresos para ustedes.
And this generates, income for you.
Y recuerdo que yo le digo, no me veas como inmigrante, veme como un turista.
I think, okay, I want you to see me not as an immigrant. I want you to see me as a tourist.
Yo necesito saber cómo llegar a Ciudad de México.
I need to know how to get to the city of Mexico.
Y la chica entre los dientes me dijo que no podía darme información.
And the girl, like, trying to speak between her teeth is like a term, like low, and saying that she cannot give that information
Porque la mafia, luego tenían problemas con la mafia.
because she might get in trouble with the mafia.
Gotcha. Wow.
Luego de eso, bueno, llegamos a la historia de cómo llegué a Ciudad de México. Es bastante, yo creo que no hay alguien a quien responsabilizar sino a Dios.
So, and the story now, how I got to the city of Mexico, the Mexico City, I do not give responsibility to anyone but God.
Wow.
Y lo voy a contar rápidamente.
And I'm going to tell it very quickly.
Llegamos a un lugar que sinceramente pensé que iba a morir ahí.
We got to a town that I thought I was going to die there.
Es un lugar que está antes de un pueblo que se llama Reforma.
It's a town that is before another town called Reform.
Como 3, 4 o 5 pueblos antes de Oaxaca.
So 3 or 4 or 5 towns before Oaxaca.
Y era Colina.
And it was, the name was Colina. It's Colina. Se llama Colina.
Recuerdo que el grupo se había dividido y entonces éramos los solteros de todo ese grupo, 3.
So the group separated, and all the singles from the group that we had, 3 of us.
Y recuerdo que comenzamos a caminar porque hubo una chica que dijo, vamos a caminar. Era muy temprano, eran como las 6 de la mañana.
And he was like 5 in the morning, and one of the girls was like, no, let's walk.
Yo había visto por el mapa que era mucho tiempo caminando hasta el otro pueblo.
And I was looking in the map and say, it's going to take a long time for us to walk here.
Y, pero como todos comenzaron a caminar,
But because everybody was walking,
comencé a caminar.
I also walked.
Luego, pasadas unas 2 horas de camino, no volteo y no vi sino más a las 2 personas que venían conmigo.
And after like few hours, I could only see like the 2 people that were coming with me.
No sé por qué,
And I don't know why.
pero la rodilla izquierda me comenzó a molestar.
My left knee started hurting.
No podía flexionarla,
And I couldn't flex it.
no podía moverla.
I couldn't move it.
Y por supuesto entré en un momento como de desesperación.
And I got into a point where I was really desperate.
Porque no sabía cuánto me faltaba,
And I did not know how much time
pero
I had.
sí sabía que faltaba.
But I knew there was a lot of time that I still needed to walk.
Tomé un descanso por un momento.
And I rested for a while.
No teníamos agua, no teníamos nada de
We
comida.
didn't have food, we didn't have water.
Y comencé a llorar,
And I started crying,
lejos de mis compañeros.
away from my friends.
Porque veía que pasaban carros y no se detenían.
And I saw cars passing by and they would not stop.
Yo no podía moverme.
I couldn't move.
Y muchas preguntas llegaron a mi mente en ese momento.
And I had so many questions on my mind.
Una de ellas es que iba a ser una carga para los otros 2 que vivían conmigo.
One of the thoughts was like, I'm going to be a burden to my other friends.
Otra pregunta fue, ¿será que los dejo que se vayan adelante y yo veo cómo llego después?
Or should I let them go before me and I'll figure out a way to go find my way to get there?
¿O será que voy a morir en este lugar?
Or I'm going to die here in this place.
Jesus.
Conseguí un palo
I was able to get a rod,
y poco a poco seguí caminando.
and slowly I started walking.
Y comencé a ver, pasé por un espacio más o menos, caminé como unos 2 kilómetros
And so I walked like for 2 kilometers.
y conté aproximadamente unas 7 o 8 capillas.
Capillas, ¿qué se llama?
Capillas son cuando la gente muere en carretera,
Oh, sí, las
levantan
capillas,
como
las
unas
capillas.
capillas.
And he, after when he went through, he's like he saw like the tombs.
Mhm.
So he passed 7 tombs, like where you see like someone died.
Mm.
Yeah.
La más cercana tenía fecha de marzo del 2023.
And the closest one was March 2023.
Luego de eso recuerdo que tuve una oración muy corta pero particular con Dios.
And I had like this very short prayer with God.
Y yo le digo, pero no entiendo como si yo soy tu hijo
And I said, I don't understand if I am your son
y tú eres mi padre,
and you're my dad,
permites que yo pase de esto.
you will allow me to go through this.
Y vino un pensamiento a mi mente de una forma muy rápida,
And a thought came very fast on my mind,
como diciendo, o sea,
saying,
pensé
and I thought,
como diciendo, yo no te mandé.
and like a thought that said, like, but I didn't ask you to come here to do this.
Y yo le digo, pero soy tu hijo
But I was telling him, but I am your son,
y no necesito más que un carro para llegar a mi destino.
and I don't need anything else but a car to take me to my destiny.
No te estoy pidiendo más.
I'm not asking you anything more than that.
Y seguimos caminando.
And we continue walking.
Caminamos, llegamos a un lugar realmente a la Reforma, un pueblo que se llama La Reforma.
And then we finally got to a town called Reforma.
No había nada,
There was nothing there.
solo pasaban los carros.
Only cars were passing by.
Una hora después de intentar,
An hour later, after trying,
llegó un autobús que iba supuestamente con destino a Oaxaca.
there was a bus that was actually going to Oaxaca, to the city.
Éramos 3
There were 3 of us,
y solo teníamos 500 pesos cada uno.
and we only had 500 pesos. That is like 50 $50.
Sí, eran 1.500 pesos entre los 3, eran como $130.
Okay, like so about like 500 pesos total, each one of us. So it's 1,500, which was like about $130.
Pero sabíamos que el pasaje de ahí hasta Oaxaca eran 500 pesos.
And we knew that like from the ticket from there to Oaxaca was
Por persona.
1,500. 1,500.
500
Oh
por
yeah,
persona.
it was 500 per person.
Y de Oaxaca a Ciudad de México eran 1.500 por persona.
And from Oaxaca to Mexico City was 1,500.
Estamos hablando de 600 pesos.
So we're talking about 600 pesos.
De 6.000.
6,000 pesos. 6,000 pesos.
Y solo teníamos 1.500.
And we only had 1,500.
Llegó un autobús
So we had a bus that
y
arrived.
dice, vamos hasta Oaxaca.
And it's like, we're going to go to Oaxaca.
Los que van a Oaxaca,
Who's going to go to Oaxaca?
500 pesos por persona.
500 per person.
Ok.
I was like, okay.
No teníamos más,
We didn't have anything more.
pero necesitamos salir de ahí.
We just had to get out of there.
Nos montamos en el autobús,
We got into the bus.
hasta asiento tenía, nos fuimos sentados.
And we even had a seat and everything.
Y antes de entrar a Oaxaca,
Before we got into
el
Oaxaca,
autobús se para en migración.
the bus stopped in immigration.
Nuestra pregunta era, ¿por qué se para aquí si aquí no hay oficiales de
And
migración?
so why do they stop us here? Because there's no official immigration officers here.
Y el chofer dice,
And the driver said,
se bajan acá todos los que pagaron hasta Oaxaca.
everybody that paid to Oaxaca has to come down here. And it's not Oaxaca yet.
Se bajó mucha gente.
And a lot of people went down.
Y el chofer decía, faltan
And
3.
said there are 3 of you
Faltan 3 que
Yeah,
se montaron
3.
hasta Oaxaca.
that said are going to Oaxaca.
Yo le escribo por teléfono a uno de mis compañeros.
And I text one of my friends.
Le digo, no te vayas
I
a
said,
bajar.
do not come down.
No te vayas a
Do
bajar.
not leave the
Si
bus.
quiere que nos bajen,
If they want, they can bring us down. But
no
we're
tenemos
not.
más dinero.
We don't have any more money.
El chofer se le ocurre preguntar que dónde abordamos.
And so, and they ask us, where did you guys come from?
Y
Like in terms of where did you guys come from the stop?
recuerdo que el chofer me dice, ¿dónde te montaste tú?
And then so where did you come from? Like where did you come to the bus from?
Y yo le dije que me había montado en Tapachula.
And I said Tapachula.
¿Seguro?
It's like, are you sure?
Sí, yo
It's like, oh
pagué
yeah.
desde Tapachula.
I paid from Tapachula.
Bajaron a uno de mis dos compañeros.
And one of my two friends, they actually got him out of the bus.
Estábamos preocupados porque no teníamos más dinero.
We were concerned because we didn't have any more money.
Pero no sé cómo hizo él.
But I don't know how he did it.
Y averiguó.
And he found out.
Y el autobús iba hasta Ciudad de México.
The bus was actually going to the Mexico City. That was their last stop.
Mi sorpresa es que el chofer le dice a los pasajeros que si hace una parada para comer.
And so I was surprised that the driver was asking if the passengers wanted to make a stop to eat.
Yo me pregunto, pero ¿para qué va a hacer una parada si ya estamos en Oaxaca?
I said, why would we stop since we're already in Oaxaca?
Y se me ocurre preguntarle a uno de los pasajeros.
And I asked one of the other passengers.
El pasajero me dijo, este autobús va hasta Ciudad de México.
So is it going to the city of Mexico City?
Y le preguntó, ¿cuánto pagaste tú por el pasaje?
And I asked her, how much did you pay to get to Mexico City?
Me dice, pagué 1,600 pesos.
And they said I had to pay 1,600.
Me paro en una esquina de la calle mientras la gente come,
And when the people were eating, I stopped in that corner.
pensando en cómo hacer
I was like thinking of what am I going to do
para que el que se quedó
with the other guy that was behind?
llegara.
How would he come and meet us?
No teníamos más dinero.
We didn't have any more money.
Y él me escribe,
And he writes him, he texts him.
me dice,
It
no
says-
te vayas a bajar del autobús
He texts me and says, do not leave that bus
porque va hasta Ciudad de México.
because this bus goes to our destination that is Mexico City.
Cuando volteo, lo vi cruzando la calle.
And when I turn around, I see my friend coming towards us.
Y nos contentamos porque nos conseguimos de nuevo.
We were so happy because we met each other again.
Y yo le digo, mira lo que vamos a hacer.
I think, this is what we're going to do.
Te vas a cambiar la ropa.
You're going to change your clothes.
Y apenas abran las puertas del autobús,
And when they open up the doors of the bus,
yo te voy a pasar un WhatsApp.
I'm going to shoot you a message.
Y te montas.
And you just go in.
Si te dicen algo, nos bajamos los tres.
Si te dicen algo, se quedan los
O sea, si se montaba y si lo iban a bajar, nos bajamos los tres.
Okay, so if they say anything and they said he can't go in, then the three of us would just stay together.
Pero logró abordar
So when he came in,
y llegamos a Ciudad de México.
we got to Mexico City.
Okay.
Adventure.
All right. This is crazy. By the
No
way,
money.
share this out if you haven't. You are we're interviewing. If you're just now coming on, we hear a lot of different voices speaking about what's going on with the whole migrant Venezuelan situation. But we wanted to give voice to somebody who's actually come here from Venezuela, somebody who we would classify as a migrant living in Chicago. And so with that being said, you're in Mexico City.
Entonces ahora estás en México,
Ujú.
en la Ciudad de México.
Ok.
Do we go to the border now?
¿Cómo llegas a la
Is
A
there
la
another
frontera.
jungle?
¿Tiene alguna otra selva?
Like, I mean, I don't tell them listening to your
O sea,
story.
se lo estoy escuchando tu historia.
Right now it sounds like
En México intentamos trabajar y mientras esperábamos la cita del CBP-1.
So we were trying to work while we were waiting for an appointment to a CBP-1. Now, just to give a context, CBP-1, that is the method that the United States has set up for anyone that is a migrant. They can go and apply for that in order to, request, for asylum or for the next step to get to the
wait.
border.
Okay, so I've never heard of this ever, and
So,
I know
dijo
I'm
que
not the
nunca ha
only
escuchado de
person.
CBP-1. Entonces
So,
estaba tratando de explicarles, pero si
Yeah.
quieres explicar, quizás tú me explicas mejor.
Yo creo que tengo aquí.
It's basically a system that the United States has, like in terms of a link that they can go when they get to Mexico City. They can go in, they can apply online.
who is they?
Migrants, people that are trying to come to the United States.
That
It's like a point of interest where they can go in and they can apply. Put their information.
So they go to this place called it's called CBP1.
Yeah, it's a link. Mhm.
It's in Mexico. Oh wow, it's government seal and
It is a
everything.
government, yes.
It's in Mexico.
Pero en México se lo hace.
Sí,
Yes,
Right.
it's in Mexico.
It's in Mexico. They go to Mexico, and when they get to Mexico, I mean, when they apply at this particular thing that's in Mexico, I think this is important for us to hear you all, because why? Now we're talking about applying. You know, a lot of people just make it look like, you know, on video, all these people are just coming here, just forcing their way in here, where the United States actually has a place set up in Mexico City, right?
Yeah.
Where you can apply, you know, to come into the country. So he's saying he went there
Entonces fue usted y
to
usted
apply
aplicó.
there, right?
sí, pero nunca nos llegó la cita.
Yeah, so they did apply, but they never had like an appointment because they usually apply, but you get an appointment.
Pudimos reunir 2.200 pesos por cada uno.
Where we're able, porque trabajaron.
Sí, hicimos algunas cosas
Because
en México.
they did some things like work in Mexico and they were able to collect like 2,600, hijo?
2.200.
200. That they were able to save 220 and 2,200 pesos.
Okay, so he goes through they go through this journey of coming through from Venezuela. They take all of these buses, they're walking, they're paying all of this stuff. And then once they get to Mexico, they have to stop to work
They have to
just to make some more money,
yes.
just to try to get here.
Yeah.
Wow. And you know, I saw Patricia Robinson leave a comment. By the way, we're going to get to the questions we haven't gotten to yet. Again, I just want to make sure that our brother had a chance to really share his story, to put a picture or a face to this thing that a lot of us have question marks about, or we're relying on other sources instead of hearing it from the inside. But Patricia Robinson had commented how it's appalling how all of these people, yeah, how she's making all of this, how all of these people are making money,
Todas esas personas haciendo dinero,
you know, off of them coming.
que están ganando dinero de ustedes que
Yeah.
están saliendo de sus países para
But
llegar aquí.
But I want him to get back to the part of where he applies,
Entonces quiero que regrese a la parte donde aplicó usted.
and then how does he get to the
y cómo
border
llega
and then to Chicago.
a la frontera y llega a Chicago.
Sí, uno descarga la aplicación, uno
So-
crea usuario y contraseña.
So you go, you sign up, you get like a code.
La página recompila información acerca de los viajeros. Puedo crear en grupo, lo puedo hacer individual.
You can do it individual, or you can do a group application.
Donde preguntan acerca del nombre, apellido, ciudad
They
de
ask,
origen,
You know, like city of origin, name, last name,
si nuestros padres están vivos,
if our parents are alive or not.
si viajamos con pasaporte o cédulas de identidad,
If we have like passport or like a ID,
si padecemos de alguna enfermedad de base.
if we have any like disease or sickness.
Y genera un número individual, aunque sea en grupo, la solicitud genera un número individual por cada persona.
And so even if you do an application as a group, it will still generate a code or a number.
Una vez que es aprobada la cita,
Once the appointment is approved,
le llega el código a cualquiera de esas personas que estén en grupo.
any person from that group is able to receive that code.
Y en el momento de llegar a frontera,
And the moment you get to the
muestran la
border,
cita
you show that you have an appointment,
y evitan ser arrestados.
and that prevents them from being arrested.
Sí.
Okay.
En nuestro caso,
In our
y en el
case,
caso de la mayoría de las personas que están llegando,
and it's the case of majority of people that are arriving,
nos habían dicho que había una brecha abierta en septiembre hasta el 17 de septiembre.
they said that there was like a point of time in September that it was open for them to come in,
Para entregarnos.
and they were open to actually surrender to the immigration in the border.
En este caso, yo me entregué por Piedras Negras.
Por,
El puerto Piedras Negras.
es el punto que.
Ajá.
And so he basically surrendered at the point Puertas Negras.
Piedras Negras.
Piedras Negras.
Es el lugar donde está el río Bravo.
Is where the river Bravo River is in. So that's where he surrendered.
Nos entregamos, fue un proceso porque para llegar, nosotros llegamos de Ciudad de México llegamos a Monterrey, de Monterrey teníamos que llegar a Piedras Negras, pero no teníamos, o sea, teníamos para llegar a Monterrey, pero entonces no nos querían vender hasta Piedras Negras.
So he had to leave Mexico City to Monterrey, from Monterrey to Piedras Negras. But even though they were able to go to there, they didn't want to take them to Piedras Negras.
Nosotros tomamos la decisión de irnos en tren.
And so they decided to take the train.
Desde Monterrey a Piedras Negras.
From Monterrey to Piedras Negras.
En el famoso tren que llaman, hay uno que llaman La Bestia.
Yes, it's a train that is called the Beast.
Yes, una locura.
And it's crazy.
No viajamos en vagones porque es un tren que transporta productos como carros, partes.
And it's the train that like actually transport cars,
carbón,
coal.
Y viajamos en la parte de arriba, en el techo del tren.
And they have to like travel on top of it.
De Monterrey.
Wait. Hold on. Tell them. Hold on. Hold on.
Like, wait.
Tell them, how do you say hold on in Spanish? Pardon.
No,
What do we say? Espere.
Like, it's fine.
Espere. Hold on. Did y'all hear that? Hold on. So they gotta travel like on top of the train while it's...
viajar arriba del tren.
La gran mayoría.
The majority of them.
En el techo del tren.
And like on the ceiling of the train.
What? Realmente es como un ferrocarril.
It's like a you know, like the trains, choo train, that type of train. Not just like a subway type of train.
What?
Es una completa locura.
It's like, it is crazy. It's really dangerous.
Yes, I bet it is dangerous.
Claro que sí, peligroso.
Sí, el tren antes de arrancar.
Right.
No, seriously, right?
No.
I just thought about
No. Tell him no. He is Indiana Jones.
Si usted es Indiana Jones.
He Venezuela. Tell him he Venezuela Jones.
Venezuela Jones.
La unión de los trenes.
Diga, like the trains that
de vagón a vagón.
They usually attach,
Algo así.
right?
¿No?
From one wagon to another one.
El vagón va a arrancar, no arranca hacia adelante. Cuando el tren va a arrancar, no arranca hacia adelante.
So it doesn't go forward when it starts.
Primero va hacia atrás.
It goes backwards.
Y luego va hacia adelante.
And then goes forward.
Y el impacto que genera es muy fuerte.
The impact is really strong.
Conocí una persona que se cayó y se partió la pierna en dos.
So I met a person that actually fell and the leg was broken into.
Oh, Jesus.
Es bastante loco.
Jesus.
Yeah, it is really crazy.
Pero hay un dicho que lo mencionaba hace rato.
And there's a saying that I mentioned recently.
Y creo que es una fuerte declaración y es un dicho venezolano.
And it's a saying that is very Venezuelan.
Que el venezolano es del tamaño de la adversidad que se le imponga.
The size of the Venezuelan is the size of the challenge that is given to them.
Say that again.
Dilo una vez más.
That's powerful.
Es poderoso.
El venezolano es
The Venezuelan is
del tamaño
the same size
de la dificultad que se le imponga.
of the difficulty or the challenge that is placed in him.
Wow.
I said, this is powerful.
Wow. Because listen, tell her, I need you to translate this to him. Tell him, obviously, I'm not Venezuelan.
Yo no soy venezolano.
Because I was ready to quit
Porque si fuera yo iba
before he got to Mexico City.
Antes de llegar a Mexico City, él seguramente que no iba a seguir.
More than once. Hey, I was ready to quit. Hey, Hey, anybody out there who listened, was y'all ready to quit too? I was ready to quit. Okay. Man, you know what I'm saying? I had to remind myself, like, oh yeah, he survived. He's sitting right here. Okay. Because I was ready to go. Like, man, how do you keep on going? Wow. Jesus, just to come here. So they're riding the train.
Entonces van en el tren.
Y'all think about this. We ain't even got to the police station yet. We ain't even got to the police station. So they ride at the top of the train. And you ride the top of the train to where? This is wild.
De hecho, no hemos llegado a Piedras Negras.
So
porque
he has not arrived.
Agarramos el tren.
So they went to the train.
De Monterrey a Piedras Negras en carro son 4 horas.
From Monterrey to Piedras Negras is 4 hours by car.
Nosotros
like
nos
driving.
echamos 17 horas en tren.
And they did 17 hours in the train.
You rode the top of the train for 17 hours. Yo! Yo! Yo!
Did you eat?
Comió.
Gracias a Dios.
Eating. You ain't worried about eating. Eating.
Gracias a Dios, sí.
You ain't thinking about eating.
Thank God he was able to eat.
Lo que íbamos a gastar en pasaje.
Wait, he ate on top of the train? Wait, hold on. Stop.
De Monterrey a Piedras Negras eran como 1,200
O sea,
pesos
cada persona los
por persona.
Mil
Sí, entonces no íbamos a llegar.
1,500.
So what's
So no, I'm trying to like. So he said like apparently the ride from Monterrey to Piedras Negras, it was like 1,500 each one, and they still had some money left. So, ¿verdad? Que todavía tenían algún dinero con ustedes.
Sí, pero no llegábamos.
But no llegaba.
No llegamos a frontera con ese dinero.
But they were not able to arrive to the border with that money. Like it was all wasted with food and the ride.
Por eso decidimos irnos en tren.
And so that's why they decided to actually go to the train.
Y
Because the money was not enough.
es algo que la mayoría de las decisiones se tomaban en conjunto.
So most of the decisions were taken as a group.
Porque yo era uno de los que decía que yo iba a esperar mi cita.
ask them, are they all
Esperar la cita.
are they all still together right now, the 31?
So he said because like porque dijo que iba a perder su cita.
No,
O iba a esperar su cita.
Iba a esperar.
Because he wanted to wait for his appointment. So they would do things in teams. Y está preguntando si ustedes los 31 están todos juntos o todavía se siguen en contacto.
Todos pasaron.
So all the 31, they were able to make it.
Okay.
Hay algunos que están en un refugio cerca.
Some of them are in
Los dos con los que venía están en un refugio cerca.
So 2 of them that I came with, they're like close by here.
Y algunos están
And some
cerca de la Jackson,
close to
otros están en
Jackson.
Estación 5.
And others in District 5.
Algunos tenían familiares acá y ya tienen un lugar.
And so others had family members here, so they already have a place to stay.
Pero todos pasamos.
But all of us going through.
Yo en lo particular duré detenido 2 días
¿Quién?
en migración. El grupo de
Todo el grupo de 31. 31
No,
personas.
nosotros 3.
Todos 3. So the 3 of them that were together, the single guys, they were like, I think they remained in immigration once they came through for 2 días.
2 días.
For 2 days.
And so after they remained in immigration, then tell them then what happened.
Entonces,
Take us to that.
Después, entonces ustedes se rendieron,
Did they
se
send?
quedaron por 2 días y después qué?
Ask them, did they send them right out from there to Chicago
Y les enviaron directo para Chicago.
or what?
Esa es una historia bastante cómica también.
That's another complicated story.
Pero no podemos decir que hay algún otro dueño de esto que Dios.
So there's no other owner of the story but God.
Yes,
Porque,
I agree. Jesus.
Nunca habíamos pisado una cárcel. O por
Because
lo menos yo nunca había pisado una
it's
cárcel.
like I have never been into a prison in the past.
Y del lugar de migración duramos un día.
And the place where we were in the immigration,
Y
we stayed for a day.
el día siguiente nos sacaron una máxima.
Máxima como una cárcel prison.
Una cárcel normal.
And then And so they stayed for a day, and then they took them to a normal prison the next day.
Estábamos en una celda que era para dos personas.
Huh? Maximum security.
Ajá, una.
What? Wait, stop, hold on. Wait, y'all.
I guess like I guess I didn't want to know about more of the maximum security.
No. I think we need to just hold on to make this clear because I'm still tripping off of him being on top of a train. Okay? I'm sorry, this is just tell him I'm sorry, but it's just not normal.
Que no es normal.
Tell him I grew up riding the subway train. I have never in my life seen anybody ride the top of a train.
Pero no arriba del tren.
So now, after going through all of that,
Después de pasar todo eso,
you finally crossed the border.
llegaste como entregaste y pasaste por la frontera.
And now, when they say you're going to
Y
immigration,
ahora vas a la inmigración.
Sí.
you not only get put in a jail,
No solamente le pusieron una prisión,
you get put in a maximum security jail.
le pusieron como una seguridad máxima, como la prisión, la más
Sí,
grande.
estábamos en una prisión.
Yeah.
Prisión.
Yeah,
Y'all, he
la
still
prison.
y'all in this story, if you follow it, he still ain't made it to Chicago.
I was like, yeah, he's here.
He just crossing the border after going through the jungle, after going through the cartels, after going through the water, after going through the sliding on the slopes, the long rides, right at the top of a train, working in Mexico, dead bodies, all of that. He gets in America and now he in jail. This is the process. I just want y'all to hear. This is what a lot of them are going through just to get here. Like, this is wild. Okay, so keep.
Hay algo particular en la personalidad del venezolano.
And so it's something particular about the personality of Venezuela, a Venezuelan.
Que nosotros muchas veces lo sacamos a reducir en cualquier conversación.
And sometimes we translate that in any conversation.
Y es que nosotros nos estamos muriendo o nos están matando.
Even if we're dying or somebody's killing us.
Y nosotros estamos muertos de la risa.
We always die laughing.
Wow.
En aquel momento,
Oh my God.
Wow.
Claro, pasamos nuestro proceso. Hay personas que duran mucho más tiempo detenidos que yo.
So we went through that process. Some people get arrested for longer time than I did.
Me acuerdo que estábamos en las celdas eran para dos personas.
So I remember the cells were just for 2 people.
Y habíamos 10.
And we were 10 of us.
Estábamos juntos los
Jesus.
mismos 3 que estábamos en el autobús.
And so the 3 of us that were in the bus, we were the 3 of us in the same cell.
Nos procesan, nos arman el caso, toman nuestras huellas.
They take our fingerprints. They take our they input our application. They do all the paperwork.
Hacen el proceso, pero nos sacan a todos y dejan al mismo que habían dejado una vez que bajaron del autobús.
So they do all the process, but then the same guy that was left behind, they leave him behind.
How long was he there in the jail?
¿Cuánto tiempo se quedó? Dijo 2 días, ¿no?
Sí.
2 days.
2 days. So then after the 2 days,
Después de los 2 días,
you get out and then what?
se salió usted.
Quedamos en libertad.
So they take them all out, get them all out.
And tell them, okay, what happens now? They take them out and then what?
Y después, ¿qué pasó?
Nos soltaron como en un refugio.
So they placed them in one of the refuge places.
Que se llama Egles Pass en Texas.
In Texas.
Mm-hmm.
This is called Egles Pass.
Yes.
What's the refuge place like?
¿Y cómo era el refugio?
Take us inside of there.
Miren cómo se veía.
Horrible.
It was horrible.
He said it was horrible. Ask him what makes it horrible.
¿Por qué dices que eso era horrible?
Horrible porque, bueno, gracias a Dios nosotros llegamos a la hora de la cena.
Oh, thank God when we got there, we got there during the dinner time.
Pudimos comer.
We were able to eat.
Pero
But
era una locura, mucho calor.
There was so much heat.
No había para cargar los teléfonos.
They were not able to charge their phones.
No había internet.
There was no internet.
no había para bañarse,
They didn't have like water to shower.
no había para beber agua.
They didn't have water to drink.
Si salía del refugio no podía volver a entrar.
If you leave the refuge place,
No
you
está.
cannot come back.
Nos estaban cobrando $50 por persona para llevarnos de ahí por decir al centro, que es San Antonio.
So they will take $50 from that refuge to take them to San Antonio,
Como 45 minutos más o menos.
como 45 minutes.
Y recuerdo que estamos preocupados porque uno de nuestros compañeros no lo habían
And
soltado.
so we were worried because one of our friends, they didn't release him.
Pedimos ayuda a conocidos de acá
We asked some people that we knew here
porque no teníamos dinero.
because we didn't have money.
Muchos no contestaron, los que contestaron, ahorita no puedo atenderte, te llamo después.
Many were like they did not pick up. Those that did, sorry, I can't pick up your call. Like, I can call you later.
Y decimos pasar la noche ahí.
And we decided to just spend the night there.
En la mañana hay un grupo que dice, bueno, vamos a caminar hasta allá, son 3 horas.
And in the morning, a group said, you know what, let's just walk for 3 hours.
Yo le dije, yo no voy a caminar más.
And he said, I'm not going to walk anymore.
Y tomamos el desayuno.
So we had breakfast.
Y lo cómico fue que anuncian 30 puestos para personas que quieran ir a Chicago, Pensilvania o Nueva York.
And they announced that there's like 30 spots for anyone that wants to go to Pennsylvania, Chicago, or
Nueva York.
Or New York.
Fuimos como los números 7.
And we were like 7
del puesto.
Uh-huh. And so there were 7 of them.
Nos trasladan de ahí a un lugar que se llama River Agua o Río Rivera, que está como a 45 minutos de ahí.
They took them to another place that was 45 minutes away. That is Agua Rivera, dijo.
Ajá.
Oh,
nos bañamos, nos permiten ducharnos.
So they were able to take a shower.
Comimos algo.
They were able to eat.
Nos dieron ropa.
They gave us clothes.
Y nos montan en el autobús.
And we go into the buses.
Están subiendo todos.
And everybody's going up in the buses.
Cuando vemos a nuestro compañero que había quedado.
And we saw a friend who was left behind.
Oh, wow.
This friend.
35 horas después llegamos aquí a Chicago.
And 35 hours later we arrived to Chicago. ¿Y por qué cómo decidieron Chicago? No, I'm asking, how did they decide to go to Chicago?
Yes. Nuestros destinos eran Chicago o Atlanta.
So the destiny point that they wanted was Chicago or Atlanta.
Pero mejor Chicago porque como es ciudad santuario.
Oh, because they wanted the sanctuary city.
Hay
Chicago.
refugios.
And there are, refugee homes.
Pero en Atlanta no.
But in Atlanta they don't even have them. Wow.
Y bueno, se nos presentó la oportunidad de viajar sin costo, porque un pasaje, yo averigüé, un pasaje desde Texas hasta Chicago son aproximadamente $450.
Sí. So, and then they had the opportunity to travel with no cost to come to Chicago, which would cost them like $400, like to travel from here to go to Chicago.
Y bueno, llegamos acá.
And so thank God we arrived.
So they arrived to Chicago when they first get to Chicago, they get off the bus and they're where?
Entonces cuando salen del autobús, cuando llegan a Chicago, salen del autobús, ¿qué pasó después?
Nos conseguimos con una realidad muy distinta a lo que nosotros pensábamos.
So we end up meeting a reality or seeing a reality that was very different from what we thought.
Porque nosotros pensábamos que íbamos directamente a un refugio.
Because we thought that they're going to take us straight to a refuge place.
Resulta que la modalidad es que nos trasladaban a una estación de policía.
But what they did, they would take us to a police station.
Y de ahí esperábamos hasta que pudieran ubicarnos en un refugio.
And we had to wait until they were able to house us in a refuge place.
La otra realidad.
Yeah, the reality of this.
Y que nos enteramos es cuando estamos ya acá en el país.
Is that after we were here in the country,
es que no tenemos permiso de trabajo.
We do not have a work permit.
sabemos de que el permiso de trabajo o la orden para poder gestionar el permiso de trabajo es a partir de la primera visita a la corte.
So we are only able to get that appointment or like that working permit after we make it to the appointment. Remember the CBP one, the application, there is like a date court, and after that date court, that's when they're able to get a working permit.
Pero resulta y acontece que
But it happened that
hay personas que tienen su corte en noviembre,
there are people that have their court date in November,
otras en enero, febrero.
some in November or February.
En mi caso la tengo en octubre del 2000, septiembre del 2026.
So I have mine in October of 2026.
Hay personas que tienen 4 años, que tienen mucho más tiempo que yo para su primera visita a la corte.
And there are people that have their scheduled date 4 years from now, like way longer than I.
Wait, hold on. He has to wait until October of 2026.
Entonces uno puede esperar hasta el octubre de 2026.
3 years later,
3 años después,
in
Para
order
tramitar.
to do what?
para poder tener el permiso de trabajo, ¿no?
Para poder aplicar para el permiso.
So for him to be able to apply for a working permit.
Claro, hay unas personas que entraron antes del 31 de junio de este año.
Pero the people that came in before June 31st, the 30th of this year,
Aplican para lo que llaman el TPS.
and they apply for something that is called a TPS.
Todavía no han manifestado qué van a hacer con todas las personas que entraron después del 31 en adelante.
They have not spoken what they're going to do with anyone that has entered in the U.S. after the 30th of June.
Y
They haven't spoken to anyone?
They have not stated what they're going to do. So if you applied before that date, you apply for something that is TPS. But if you enter the United States after that date, June 30th, they don't know. There's nothing set in
Yo, this
stone
is-
what to do.
Crazy.
Mhm.
So they dropped, so ask him, did he know that he was getting, no, he said he didn't know that he
No.
was getting dropped off at the police station.
Yeah, no.
So
So
tell him,
que usted no sabía que
when they
tenía
get
que
dropped
iba a
off at the
quedarse
police station,
en la policía.
tell them, take us through now what
Entonces,
happens once you get there.
Entonces-
What is like, so here, break this down here for me. Tell them, here in, as a person who is from Chicago,
como persona de que soy de Chicago,
there is a lot of talk,
hay mucha gente hablando, mucha gente hablando
about what's going on at the police
de lo que
stations.
está pasando en la policía, en las estaciones de las policías.
So I feel for people from Chicago,
Y siento a algunas personas en
it's,
Chicago,
it would be very important for you to tell
es
us
muy importante que nos digas
Okay.
what is life like living in the police station.
cómo es la vida viviendo en la estación en la policía.
Creo que antes me va a permitir decir
Before I say anything, I just want you to let me say this.
que nosotros como venezolanos no podemos, o sea, no estamos acostumbrados, pero es algo que es muy común escuchar.
We're not, as Venezuelans, we're not used to this, but it's very common that we hear this.
Quizás el desprecio por a raíz de que nosotros comenzamos a salir de Venezuela
Maybe the reason why we left Venezuela
desde hace 10 años en adelante hasta
since
hoy.
like 10 years ago until now.
Salieron muchos términos que ya existían en la sociedad,
There have been many terms that have come up that already existed in society,
pero que cobraron fuerza gracias a los venezolanos.
but they were able to be magnified because of the Venezuelans.
No sé si han escuchado sobre la xenofobia.
I don't know if you heard about xenophobia.
Yeah.
Ok, ese término es un término que siempre ha existido,
This term has always existed.
porque si hacemos un ejemplo y vamos a la comunidad afroamericana,
Because, for example, when you go to like an
sí,
Afro-American community,
para no decir negro,
but instead of saying black,
sí, yo no soy americano,
I am not American,
pero soy negro.
but I am black.
Sí. Y como persona de color,
And as a person of color,
siempre hemos tenido, desde que crecemos, desde que vamos a la escuela, desde que vamos a la universidad, desde que estamos en el barrio,
as we grow up in school and in our neighborhood,
hemos sido víctimas de xenofobia,
we have been victims of xenophobia,
de racismo,
of racism,
aún siendo de Latinoamérica.
even being me being from Latin America.
Pero hay algo en particular.
But there's something particular there.
En Venezuela
In Venezuela,
hay un término para hacer burla, que se utiliza para hacer burla a otra persona.
so we have a term that we use when someone is teasing someone else.
Y es como una forma justificada de cómo meterse con esa persona.
It's like a justified way of getting, getting in trouble with that person,
Independientemente si eres negro, blanco,
independently if you're white, if you're black,
si eres alto,
if
bajo,
you're tall or short,
si eres gordo,
if you're
delgado.
big or you're small.
Sí, pero no es más que una justificación para ser xenofóbicos con nosotros mismos.
And it's almost like a way to justify of being xenophobic with ourselves.
Y no sé si algún venezolano nos está escuchando
No, I don't know if there's a Venezuelan hearing this,
o comprende lo que significa la palabra chalequeo.
or they know the word chalequeo. That's something that they use.
Es como yo poder decirte, no, pero tú eres negro, o molestarte sin manera de ofenderte.
It's like I'm calling you basically black, but in a way that is not offensive, not to offend you.
Pero en nosotros es muy común.
But this is very common.
¿Sí? Entonces, que me digas negro no me ofende.
So when you say black to me, I don't get offended.
En Venezuela me pueden decir negro, moreno, niche.
So they're different terms like moreno, niche, negro.
Mi color.
It's my moreno. It's like it's my color.
Es para referirse a una persona de tez oscura.
And it's always to refer someone that has a dark skin.
Entonces, si hablamos de xenofobia,
But if we're talking about xenophobia,
como venezolanos,
as Venezuelans,
hemos aprendido a vivir con el repudio de la gente.
so we have learned to live with this type of offense from the people.
No es algo que es normal,
It's not something that is normal,
pero como los venezolanos somos del tamaño de la adversidad que se nos coloca,
but because we Venezuelans are the same size of the challenges that are placed on us,
Come on.
aprendimos a sobrellevar.
we learned how to, get, used to this, like
No
or
todos
going
tenemos el
through
mismo
it.
carácter.
Not all of us have the same character.
Hay personas según la región, si son frías o calientes en Venezuela, que son mucho más explosivas.
So there are people that, depending on which regions they are, that is colder or hotter, they can be very more explosive in their personality.
Y sí, pueden tomarse muy personal la molestia por una persona que no es venezolana.
And they can get easily offended for someone that says something to them that is not Venezuelan.
Pero realmente ser visto como migrantes,
But to be seen as migrants,
he escuchado muchos términos,
I've heard so many terms.
como que somos la plaga del
That
planeta,
we are the plague of the planet.
como que somos un cáncer.
We are cancer.
Oh my God.
Pero lo que realmente creo y estoy convencido
And what I believe, and I'm very sure of,
es que muchos países han podido sostener su economía
is that many countries were able to sustain their economy
gracias a los venezolanos.
because of the Venezuelans.
Porque el venezolano
Because the Venezuelan
está acostumbrado a que si gana poco,
is used to that if he earns low
igual
income,
aspira a cosas caras,
he's
costosas.
still dreaming for something that is expensive.
Creo que como en toda sociedad, las personas que son de mucho dinero
So like in any society, people that have a lot of money,
no prestan mucha atención acerca de cómo se visten.
they don't pay attention to how they dress.
Pero las personas que son de bajos recursos.
And the people that are less, like, they have less resources.
Se preocupan de que el zapato tiene que ser de marca, el pantalón tiene que ser de marca, tiene que combinar la camisa con la gorra.
Say, like, they are very particular how they dress, that, the blouse has to, like, match with the hat, and then, the shoes need to be a brand and all that.
Y no es envidia, sino que aspiramos a tener algo mejor de lo que se ha dicho que debemos tener.
And it's not because it's of envy, but it's because we always aspire to get something greater that maybe many thought that we should have.
That's good.
Por eso es que
That's
estamos.
good.
That's
Wow.
why we're here.
Come on.
That's why we're here.
So I want him to tell us when he gets to the police station,
Entonces, cuando usted se llega a la policía,
tell us what it was like living there.
¿cómo fue vivir allá?
Gracias a Dios, pues llegamos a la estación de policía número 5
So thank God we got into the police station number 5.
y habían ciertos privilegios que muchas otras estaciones no gozan.
There were many privileges that other stations did not have.
Now, police station number 5, is that Roseland?
District 5.
Where is District 5?
You know,
Está
¿en
11 Street,
111.
727.
Yeah, 111th, right?
mhm.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So he's talking about 111 for those of y'all that are from Chicago. The one on Roseland, because it's two of them.
Yes.
Oh, the one on Vincennes.
Vincent.
Oh, yeah, I've been over there. The
Yeah.
one by Morgan Park.
Remember we dropped him off?
No,
After
the
the
one we
conference,
dropped him
after
off
the
was the one in
conference.
Roseland.
Oh, that's Roseland.
But then that's where he was.
That's where he was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no. Okay, so he was at the one, y'all, on Roseland on 111th, right off of 111th to Cottage Grove.
No,
Yeah.
estaba cerca de la Pullman.
And
¿Cómo?
Pullman,
Cerca
yeah.
de la Pullman.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so that station had many privileges that other stations did not have.
Like what?
¿Qué privilegios?
Nos podíamos bañar las veces que quisiéramos,
They could shower as many times as they wanted.
aunque no habían duchas para bañarse.
O duchas como
Duchas
like,
no había.
they didn't have like a shower.
Exacto, nos bañamos donde está el excusado. O
It's-
sea, agarrábamos agua
Agua
con un
de todo,
tobo, pero nos podíamos bañar.
Ajá. So like they didn't have like showers, but they were able to like get water and be able to shower if they needed to, whenever they wanted to.
So they were showering in what way? I mean,
Como
because
baldes,
in
como-
our
yeah,
in
with
our mind,
hours.
in our mind, shower is shower head,
Right.
No,
But
water
there was
coming
no
down.
shower head. But they would like have like buckets, and you can have like use like a smaller
So did the
Uh,
buckets and basically
and
just
basically
pouring the
like
water
pouring
on them.
over.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
That's how
Ah,
back home that many of us do that. Too.
podíamos cargar, bueno, teníamos donde cargar los teléfonos.
They knew like they were able to like charge their phones.
Dentro de la estación, que era la parte cubierta,
So like inside of the station where the part that is covered,
había prioridad para mujeres y niños.
there was priority for women and children.
De resto, aún siguen durmiendo dentro de la estación, pero no en la parte cubierta, sino en el estacionamiento.
And so other people would be in the covered area but not inside, but it was on the in the parking lot.
Do they tell you how long you're going to be at the station?
¿Te dicen cuánto tiempo se tienen que quedar en la?
No, eso es cuestión de,
No,
es como cuestión de azar,
es azar,
sí, o suerte.
es la suerte. It's basically your luck. You don't know how long you have to stay there.
Conozco una persona que estuvo solo 4 días y lo ubicaron en un hotel cerca de acá en el centro.
So he met a person that was there for 4 days, and they were able to put him in a hotel
Pero yo,
como en centro downtown,
aquí en el
aquí en
downtown.
downtown.
Pero yo duré un mes y no me ubicaron.
And so he didn't have like a place to stay like for a whole month. Like he had to stay there.
I want to get into, we got a lot of questions.
Yeah, I know.
I got some too. And so I want to get to these questions. By the way, you all, if you're coming on, let me get up here. See, I just realized I'm not on the camera. I'm thinking I'm supposed to looking at my phone. Look, if you haven't left any questions, if you want to ask any questions, please put them up there. We're going to try to go through all of them. We have Kevin. He's here from Venezuela. He's telling us about his journey, how he got to Venezuela, how he got here. We haven't even gotten to the story of when we met him, and he ended up say we haven't even got to the part
la parte donde lo conocí.
when we met him, and he got
Y
baptized,
fue bautizado
you know, on the street
en la calle
by Shavina and Fred.
por Shavina y Fred.
Yeah. After hearing the preaching of the word
Pues eso es Shavina.
from an outreach that we do that is spearheaded by Adriana Grimaldo and Apostle Marlon Ramirez. And you know, it's a Jesus Chicago, you know, collective, but Adriana spearheaded it, and Apostle Marlon is kind of like, you know, the voice that's kind of out in the front. Adriana is operating everything, you know, behind the scenes. She likes to be behind the scenes a lot. But I want to get to these questions, you all. So I'm going to just I'm going to ask these questions and you could go ahead and answer them.
Okay.
And again, if I didn't get to your question, please repost it so I could ask it, okay? So my man, what up, Cornell? My man Cornell said, did you bring a cell phone with you or were they issued in Texas?
Entonces se le dieron, compraste un teléfono antes de llegar o se te le dieron en Texas.
No, el teléfono que cargo era mío.
No, that's his
Desde
own
Venezuela.
phone from Venezuela.
He said what?
From Venezuela.
From Venezuela?
Yeah.
Y corrí con mucha suerte porque
And he was really lucky because
cayó en agua
he fell in water.
y lo encendí y prendió.
And I turned it on and he was on.
So tell him one of the things that we hear
Nosotros aquí en los Estados Unidos
is that the Venezuelans
escuchamos que
are
ustedes
given cell phones and tablets at the
que
border.
se le dan teléfonos y tabletas en la,
Is that
en
true?
la frontera. ¿Es cierto?
No.
No. So do you all hear that? That's a lie that is going around, and I've definitely heard that they're giving these things at the border, and they're not. I want to go through some of these questions that I see. And again, if I haven't asked your question, please, you all repost your question. Let me see. Somebody says, all right. They said, will you remain safe if you share your story,
Entonces usted se va a quedar
or
seguro
will there be any
como
kind of
para
danger?
cualquier peligro en compartir tu historia.
En lo personal no tengo temor de lo que pueda ocasionar o si puede tocar algunas sensibilidades lo que estoy contando. Pero
Like I personally am not concerned that, you know, like if there's any type of sensitivity with what I'm sharing.
Yeah.
pero espero que hayan compatriotas viendo esto
But I hope that I have some countrymates listening to this.
porque ellos podrán decir si es verdad o no es mentira lo que estoy diciendo
And
acá.
they can decide if this is true or false of what I'm saying.
Mi mamá decía,
My mom used to say,
por la verdad ni temo ni huyo.
for the truth, I'm not scared and I don't run away.
Nos detuvieron en la selva.
We've been in the jungle.
Creo que no podrán detener la verdad y creo que esta verdad,
Yes, it's a truth.
más allá de que pueda informar,
Way beyond of what it can do in terms of informing.
creo que tendrá un impacto, y creo así en Dios que tendrá un impacto muy positivo.
And I really believe in God that it's going to have a really positive impact.
Porque hay otro dicho,
Because we have another saying.
Nosotros venezolanos somos muy dicharacheros.
So we say so many sayings.
Y es que se me fue.
I was like, he's gonna remember later.
Bueno, X. esta historia no es una historia mía,
This story is not my story.
¿sí? Yo creo que más allá de lo que puedan escuchar, creo que hay una recompilación de un vago concepto de lo que muchas personas están pasando.
And it's basically a compilation of a concept of how so many people are going through this.
Pero creo que es importante que entiendan y que sepan
And I think it's important for you to understand and for you to know.
recordé el dicho de que
And I reminded of the saying that says,
los malos hacen más bulla,
the evil makes like more noise,
pero los buenos somos más.
but we, the good, are greater.
Creo que espero que esto pueda cambiar el concepto acerca de cómo se nos ve.
And I hope that he is able to change concepts in how things are being, perceived.
De repente puedo tener represalias,
Yeah.
comprendo.
Como,
que,
como que vienen en contra
sí.
o algo. But of course that there are people, of course, that will come against this in any way.
pero soy fiel creyente primeramente en Dios.
But I am a strong believer in God first.
Y creo
And I believe
fielmente
faithfully
de que el Estado evitaría tantos inconvenientes acerca de lo que se dice de los venezolanos.
¿Qué Estado?
El gobierno.
Que el Estado, dile una vez más.
Creo que el gobierno evitaría muchos problemas.
Yeah, so like the government would avoid so many problems.
Si reformara el hecho de que yo vengo a trabajar.
Just to change the concept that I came to work.
Y me diera un permiso de trabajo.
And they gave me an opportunity to work.
Realmente no venimos aquí a pedir.
We don't come here to beg or to
venimos
ask.
con la esperanza de poder trabajar.
Yeah.
We came here with this hope that we are able to work.
Y creo que el gobierno y el Estado lo sabe.
And the state, they know this.
Porque no somos los únicos, la única población migrante del planeta aquí en los Estados Unidos.
We're not the only immigrant group here or in the world coming to the United States.
Yeah.
Y espero que esta voz se enlace con los miles de latinos, europeos, migrantes que hay aquí del mundo.
And I hope that this voice also echoes all these immigrants from Europe, from Latinos, and others parts of the world.
Yeah. Now we're gonna tell him. I want to ask him
Y quiero preguntarte
if he could tell me about the guy
Puede decirme sobre el muchacho
that says, "I'm surprised you made it."
que dijo, estoy sorprendido que usted pudo aún lograrlo.
And tell me about how everyone that went through the wilderness
Y dime como todos los que sí pasaron por la selva
has seen the same things
han visto lo mismo
and had an encounter with God.
y cómo tuvieron ellos también un encuentro con
And
Dios.
that's why the people are so open to God when they get here.
Porque
For-
parece que es la forma que muchos
and
se quedan
ask him,
abiertos a Dios cuando llegan aquí.
Un momento.
Okay.
So, if you all don't understand what I'm asking him, so Jesus Chicago, this thing, been dealing with the Venezuelans right now, spearheaded by Adriana Grimaldo. We go out on the streets. We do a lot of outreach. We do one every Monday, 5:30. We're out at Pritzker Park. Then we go to different police stations. But then some of us, we still do stuff throughout the week. Well, one of the things that we're noticing is how hungry they are for God. I'm talking about people coming up to us, asking us for Bibles, asking us, hey, can you take us to a church? Can I hear the word of God? People coming up to us, telling us they want to be saved. I'm serious. Like, it's like, yo, you want to talk about a picture of the harvest, it's plenty. So I kind of want him to kind of give us like the background of why people are so hungry, and we can hear about the encounters that they're having with God before they even get here.
Para responder acerca de eso, creo que todos los que tienen la oportunidad
So to answer this question, everyone that has the opportunity,
de pasar la experiencia, no de vivirla,
not to live it, but to go through the experience,
tuvieron a Dios independientemente la religión o a quien creen que le servían o a quien creen que le adoraban, pero tuvieron el nombre de Dios en su boca.
many of them had the name of God in their mouth, irrespective of what they believed, like whatever type of God, but they would have God's name in their mouths.
Wow.
Lo platicaba ayer.
I was actually talking to someone about this yesterday.
Que independientemente de a quien le creas que le sirves,
If independently from, but it doesn't matter who you believe or who you serve,
más allá de cualquier secta,
more than any type of
si
sect
puedes
or belief,
ver a través de ella,
if you're able to see through it,
vas a terminar mencionando su nombre.
at the end, you're going to mention
Dios.
his name, God.
Entonces, muchos hicieron promesas,
Many of them made promises.
como que Señor, si me sacas de aquí, yo haré tal cosa o haré aquello.
God, if you get me out of here, I will do this, I'll do that.
Wow.
Conozco cómo son las cosas, ¿no? Yo, en lo particular, y no sé cómo son acá en América, pero en Venezuela somos por ejemplo, los caballeros somos muy cuidadosos con nuestra cabeza, nuestro cabello.
So I don't know here in the US, but in Venezuela, as guys, we're very careful, like with our hair.
Y creo que nosotros los negros somos aún más cuidadosos.
And especially as black, we're like particular with our hair.
That sounded about right.
It's
Hey,
true.
tell him we the same way in Chicago.
Es lo mismo aquí en Chicago.
You see, you're over here. I'm just saying.
No nos afeitamos con cualquier barbero.
So like we don't go just with any type of barber.
Yes. Tell him same
Es
here.
lo mismo.
Yeah.
Same here.
Lo mismo.
Solo con nuestro barbero.
It's like with our barber. Yeah.
Y es algo cómico porque mi barbero
Because my barber, he said,
venía conmigo en el viaje.
he came with me for the trip.
Sí.
Vino con usted.
Yeah!
Que lo del viaje.
Yeah!
Here in Chicago.
Hold on. That's classic. He said, hey, if I'm about to bring the jungle, I'm about to ride the top of the train. If I'm about to get in the river, my barber got to go with me. I got to at least look fresh when I'm risking my life. Come on now. I got to look fresh if I'm going to put my life on the line, okay? What did he say? He said, look, they gonna die laughing. With a fade. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Hey, I ain't mad at you. Look, man, I had to go get my hairline. Tell him I had to get my hairline even before I came down here today.
Antes de venir, él tuvo que también ir a su barbero.
Every week.
Toda la
I
semana.
got yes. Tell him I got the one barber.
Tiene un barbero.
And then I got one backup.
Y tengo también uno como que es
For
el
emergency,
suplemento,
just
que
in
es
case.
emergencia si el otro no puede.
And then I got one
Y también tiene otro.
who's my evangelism barber.
Es mi evangelista, un barbero evangelista.
Just in case I evangelize on the west side.
O sea, cuando voy a evangelizar en el sur de Chicago,
Right on the spot
ahí
like
está,
that.
hasta él.
Yeah. And so I had to tell him I
Lo
understand.
entiendo.
Yeah. As y'all can see, tell her, hey, it's just, this is just the unwritten rule, just black thing.
O sea, que eso es algo moreno.
Sí.
We serious about the bar. You see, I ain't never been to Venezuela.
Nunca he ido a Venezuela.
Cualquier otra persona de color no entendería.
Any person of another color would not understand.
Right, exactly. Exactly. Look, I
So true.
tell him I don't know nothing about
Dijo, yo
Venezuela
no conozco nada de
except
Venezuela,
Carlos Zambrano
solo Carlos Zambrano
and Ozzie Guillen.
y que
Ozzie Guillen.
así que
In other words, y'all, Carlos Zambrano played for the Cubs,
es like,
and Ozzie Guillen was the manager and played for the White Sox. I don't know nothing about Venezuela, and yet me and this man got the same vibe when it come to barbers. Okay, come on. He said he gonna take his barber with him when he about to risk his life. I don't know about that one with me. Okay, for real.
Y lo mencionó mi barbero
And my barber mentioned,
porque él me decía,
and he used to tell me,
tenemos que arrodillarnos a Dios.
we need to nail down and pray to God.
Él es un poco místico, ¿no?
He is very mystical.
Él decía, estamos pisoteando algo que es sagrado.
Because I feel like he used to say that that we were like throwing or stepping on something that is sacred.
Decía que la montaña
Like the mountain
era algo virgen y nosotros en nuestro paso estábamos echándola a perder.
is virgin, and with our steps we're like making her waste away.
Y sí, tenía mucha lógica porque hay mucha contaminación, dejamos mucha contaminación en el paso.
And there's like so logic to it, because like there's so much contamination on steps.
Muchas veces no porque queremos dejarla,
Not because we want to contaminate it.
sino porque nos toca aligerarnos.
Yeah, because we just like had to like leave and go through them.
Y él me decía, cuando salgamos de aquí,
And used to say, when we leave here,
yo sé que tenemos que reconciliarnos con Dios.
we need to. And he used to tell me, we need to reconcile with God.
Y él no es
Yeah.
cristiano.
And he was not a Christian.
Yeah.
Me dice porque Dios nos ha cuidado, nos ha librado de muchas cosas.
Because God has taken care of us, and he has delivered us from so many things.
Y eso solamente
Come on.
en la selva.
And this is only in the jungle.
Faltaban todavía 7 países.
We still had 7 countries to go. Wow.
Y para responder en concreto la pregunta,
And just to answer the question that was asked,
creo que sin duda alguna, y soy ejemplo, creo que soy una fe viviente de eso.
and I am a living testimony of this.
Pasamos por muchas cosas en el transcurso de nuestra travesía.
We went through a lot of things throughout our journey.
Pensamos en nuestros familiares que dejamos en Venezuela.
We think about our family members that we left in Venezuela.
Pensamos en que tenemos que llegar con vida.
We're thinking about arriving alive,
Pensamos que podemos morir.
and we think about dying.
Pero
That we
también
can
pensamos
die.
en Dios.
But we think about God.
Porque, repito, más allá de a quien sea que le pidas,
Because again, I'll repeat myself and say, anyone else, besides anyone else you could ask for
al
help,
final está Dios.
at the end of it, you're asking God.
Siempre va a estar Dios.
There's always going to be God.
Porque puedes ver en la selva todos somos iguales.
Because you go to the jungle, we're all the same.
Puede estar el
Yeah.
espiritista, puede
You
estar
have
el
the-
santero,
You have the one that has doing Santeria or spiritism,
también está el cristiano,
and there's also the Christian,
el ateo,
and also
el que
the
cree en las costumbres judías.
also the unbeliever, those that believe in Hebrew, customs.
Y el clamor siempre va a ser uno,
And the cry would always be the one,
Dios
that
mío.
one, God, my God.
Wow.
Y creo que ese es el motivo por el cual muchos están tan frágiles a lo que es la presencia de Dios aquí.
And so that's why many of them are so fragile to the presence of God here.
Y yo creo que esto es para la iglesia, esto que voy a decir a continuación es para la
And what
iglesia.
I'm going to say, this is for the church.
Yo duré hasta acá casi mes y medio, 2 meses aproximadamente. Ya tengo
Para
3
llegar
meses de que salí de Venezuela
para llegar aquí.
para
2
estar
meses.
acá, ¿no?
So it took him like about, what, 2 months for him to be here. And it's been 3 months since he left Venezuela.
Hay gente que dura más.
And there are people that it takes them longer to get here.
Muy raro ver gente que dura menos.
And it's really rare to find people that come sooner than that.
Pero hay muchas personas que han dejado atrás familia,
But many people that have left families,
trabajo,
work,
casa,
homes,
bienes,
and even goods,
aún hasta el perro,
and even their dogs,
para tratar de cumplir un sueño.
just to try to fulfill a dream.
Y es de trabajar
And it's to work,
para comprar casa propia,
to buy their own home,
a poder comprar un carro,
to buy a car.
que acá es una necesidad, allá es un lujo.
Here is a necessity, there it is a luxury.
Wow. That's deep.
Más allá de eso,
But more than that,
venimos a tratar de cumplir nuestro sueño, no el sueño americano.
we try to fulfill our dreams, not just the American dream,
Que es tener una vivienda digna, trabajada,
to have a dignified life that is, that we work.
Por eso es que
Bueno.
hacía el llamado a las autoridades, al gobierno competente que revisaran esta cuestión acerca del permiso de trabajo.
And that's why it's something that, the government would need to review this about this, the work permit.
Pero a la iglesia
But to the church,
es que puedan comprender
that they can understand
de que somos personas igual que ustedes
that we are people just the same as you are.
y que si Dios no hace sección de personas, ¿por qué yo como iglesia la tengo que hacer?
And we don't make any selections of people because me as a church, I have to select them.
Muchas veces, muchos de nosotros a veces, dependiendo de la cultura o la crianza, nos cohibimos de pedir, aunque necesitemos.
And many of us, based on our beliefs and customs, we sometimes even feel like, it's hard for us to even ask for things.
Pero creo que si vas a Dios
But if you go to God
y le preguntas,
and you ask him,
¿cómo puedo yo ser útil
how can I be useful
en este tiempo?
in this season?
Creo que Dios claramente te puede responder
And God would clearly answer you,
que les des un abrazo.
that you give them a hug.
Pasamos por traumas, sí,
We go through traumas, right? Yeah.
por dolores físicos,
We go to physical pain,
sentimentales.
emotional pain.
Hay personas que han arriesgado mucho,
And there are people that have risked a lot.
Aún personas que salieron con la misma intención que salí yo,
And a lot of people that even left with the same intentions that I left,
de llegar acá,
of coming to here
tener una oportunidad de trabajar,
and have an opportunity to work.
de poder hacer para mis bienes.
And they may able to, make money for them to have goods.
Pero lastimosamente
But sadly,
fallecieron junto con sus sueños en el camino.
they died along with their dreams on their way here.
Entonces, para la iglesia,
And so for the church,
no nos vean como personas comunes.
don't look at us like common people.
Personalmente creo que es una generación que Dios va a levantar.
And I personally believe that this is a generation that God is raising.
Y son la cara más honesta que pueden tener acerca de Dios.
And it's one of the most honest faces that they can see of God.
La palabra de Dios dice
The Bible, the Word of God says
que tenemos que conducirnos de tal forma
that we need to conduct ourselves in such a way
que puedan ver a Dios a través de nosotros.
that they can see God through us.
Wow, come on.
Entonces, creo que es importante
And so I think it's important
que como iglesia
that as a church,
podamos
Come on.
apropiarnos de carácter
that we need to embrace our character
y pararnos en la brecha
and stand in the gap. There we go.
y poder escuchar la respuesta de esa pregunta
And listen to the answer of that question.
de cómo puedo ser útil.
of how can I be useful.
A veces
Come on.
necesitamos solamente un abrazo.
Sometimes we just need a hug.
Te lo digo como venezolano,
And I say this as a
te lo digo
Venezuelan,
como persona.
and I say it as a person.
La forma más fácil de poder alcanzar a esa generación que viene caminando
The best way to reach to this generation that is coming in,
es hablar sobre el tema más polémico en toda la palabra de Dios.
and is to talk about the most polemic or most controversial topic in the Word of God.
Y más allá de eso,
And more than that,
demostrarlo.
show it.
Ooh.
Y es el amor.
And it's love.
Say that again, and it's what?
¿Qué es?
El amor de
It's
Dios.
the love of God.
Listen, tell him I want to ask him this. What I need you to let everybody know, what are the biggest needs
Entonces, la otra cosa es que cuáles son las mayores necesidades
for Venezuelans
para los venezolanos
who are living at police
que
stations?
están viviendo en las policías ahorita.
What is the biggest need?
¿Cuál es la mayor necesidad?
Antes de hablar de cuáles son las necesidades que pude haber tenido yo como venezolano, como una persona normal.
Before I share the needs that I think that anyone as a human being, as a Venezuelan, I had.
Quiero explicarles algo que quizás para ustedes es grotesco.
I want to explain something that maybe to you might be a little bit rough.
Y es que nosotros como venezolanos,
Because for us as Venezuelans,
la gran mayoría ha tenido que trabajar desde muy temprana edad.
many of us had to start working at a very young age.
Y nos hemos acostumbrado a todo adquirirlo por nuestro trabajo.
And we have been used to always get things based on our work,
Independientemente de que sea bueno o sea malo el trabajo.
independently if the work is good or bad.
Pero es por medio del trabajo.
But it's through work.
Entonces, van a ver la conducta de que cuando llegan a ofrecer algo o a darnos algo,
Entonces, so sometimes like when they come to give us something or to offer something,
muchas veces actuamos como que se va a acabar desesperadamente.
and many times we act as if that thing is going to end or finish quickly.
Y puede verse como que correspondemos a nuestro comportamiento más primitivo.
And it looks like we are responding to our more primitive reaction.
Pero realmente es que no estamos acostumbrados a que nos regalen nada.
But the truth is because we are not used to being offered anything.
Estamos acostumbrados a trabajar por lo nuestro.
We are used to working for things.
Por eso es que muchas, y lo he escuchado y lo comento es porque lo he escuchado,
And I say this because I've heard this.
muchas veces he escuchado de que, pero es que no entiendo por qué ustedes son así,
Because I've seen people, oh, I don't understand why people are like this.
pero es que no entienden por qué somos así.
It is because you don't understand why we are like this.
Y es porque no estamos acostumbrados a que nos regalen.
We're not used to just being granted and given things.
Entonces, ténganos paciencia.
So be patient with us.
Creo que como voz de muchos venezolanos,
As a voice of many Venezuelans,
y hablen particularmente de los venezolanos,
and I speak specifically to Venezuelans,
creo que tenemos que romper con ese pensamiento.
I think we have to like break with that mindset.
Muchas veces, como cristianos,
Many times as Christians,
hay quienes han entendido y otras personas quizás no.
there are people that understand and there are people that don't.
A veces nos negamos a aceptar algo
Sometimes we deny accepting something
de alguien
from someone
porque creemos de que no nos hace falta o porque queremos ser modestos.
because we want to be considerate and because we feel like we don't need anything else.
Pero debemos entender
But we need to understand
que es la perfecta voluntad de Dios
that it's the perfect will of God
de bendecirnos.
of us being blessed.
¿Sí? No debemos rechazar la bendición de
And
Dios.
we should not reject the blessing
Muchas
of God.
veces decimos, no,
Oh, many times we say,
Gracias.
no, thank you.
pero es no nada más y nada menos
but it's not more or less
que la manifestación de la bendición de Dios.
of the manifestation of the blessing of God.
Para responder acerca de cuáles pueden ser las
And
necesidades
so to answer about the question regarding the needs that we have,
es difícil satisfacer las necesidades en una situación como esta.
it's really hard to satisfy the needs of this kind of setting.
Pero creo que podemos llegar a ser puntuales y lógicos.
But I believe that we can be very precise and logic as well.
Hay muchos que están durmiendo en el suelo.
There are many that are sleeping in the ground, on the ground.
Ideas, colchones inflables.
So if you're able to get like some mattresses, air mattresses. Mm-hmm.
Sí, hay mucha gente que están durmiendo en carpas en algunas estaciones.
And some of them are like under tents in the stations.
Y creo que escuché que el gobierno estaba proponiendo habitar en carpas por el invierno.
And apparently the government was considering for them to live in tents during the winter.
Y hay una preocupación
And there is a
por
worry
parte de la población.
from the population.
Y es que las personas de acá
The people that are here
nunca han experimentado el invierno crudo, el invierno a la intemperie.
have never experienced like the winter in a crude in a raw way. Is the word.
Right.
Pero saben que hace frío.
But they know that it's very cold.
Nosotros como venezolanos no conocemos esa monstruosidad de frío que hace acá.
We as Venezuelans, we have no idea of how terrible the cold is here.
Pero pueden estar seguros de algo,
But we can be sure of something.
que no nos dejará, Dios no nos va a dejar perecer,
God is not going to let us,
y nosotros
perish,
tampoco.
and we will not perish either.
Pero sí necesitamos
Amen.
organizarnos.
But we need to organize ourselves.
Necesitamos sacar a los venezolanos de las estaciones de policía.
We need to get the Venezuelans out of the stations.
Una
Yeah.
de las mayores preocupaciones no es el frío,
One of the worries, the biggest worries is not the cold,
y muchas veces tampoco es el que los puedan ubicar en un refugio.
or that they can stay in a refuge place.
Muchas veces el temor es que como están en la calle
Many times the fear is that when they are in the streets,
y existe la xenofobia
and again the xenophobia,
acerca de nosotros,
like they come to us,
puedan remeter contra la vida de cualquiera.
and so they can actually impact or affect any one of us.
Sabemos de que Dios tiene el control,
We know that God has control,
pero ¿a quién le vamos a reclamar si
But
algo así llegase a
but
suceder?
if something happens, who do we are going to blame?
Y no lo menciono porque para ilustrar las mentes,
And I'm saying this like not to just like I'm not saying this just to bring as an idea to everybody.
sino que hace un año
But a year ago,
hubo un hecho
there was like something that happened
Brownsville, Texas,
in Brownsville, Texas,
que arrollaron a muchos venezolanos que están afuera del lugar en donde estaban esperando.
and I think that many were either attacked or someone intervened and affected their lives while they were waiting outside.
Entonces hay que comprender de que podemos hacer más.
So it's just something to bring us an awareness that we can do more.
Pero sí hay necesidad de cobijas, hay necesidad de zapatos,
But there is a need of blankets, of shoes,
vestido para niños,
clothes for children,
obviamente necesidad de un techo,
and there's a need for, of course, of having a roof.
porque para nadie es un secreto de que hay muchos migrantes
But as you know, like there's so many migrants,
y van a seguir llegando.
and they will continue coming.
No sé cómo,
I don't know how,
no sé cuántos,
and I don't know how many,
pero seguirán llegando.
but they will continue coming.
Más allá de que porque sea ciudad santuario.
just more than beyond the city of being a sanctuary city.
Creo que Dios los va a traer a
And
Chicago,
and I believe that God is going to bring them to
a
Chicago.
muchos,
So many.
pero se necesita establecerlos
But we need to establish them
y pensar en ellos como humanos,
and think about them as human
como
beings,
personas
as people
que han tenido una larga jornada
that have had a long
y
journey,
que solo esperan tener un techo y trabajo.
and they only want to have a roof and work.
Yo, somebody says when we went to the police stations, okay, there are a couple of questions they asked. They said when we went to the police stations and called people to see what we can do, we were told that we could not give money or pay Venezuelans for work. Is this true?
Es verdad.
Oh, ¿cómo así?
Como no pueden pagar o dárseles dinero.
So, this is
Es
telling
alguien-
this is
alguien que
somebody
fue allá.
who's on the
Le
broadcast.
dijeron
And
que no-
who
que-
said that?
que no podían dar
Hey, so D,
ni trabajo.
who told you
No.
that you said we were told that we couldn't give money? Who
By
told you that?
Yeah, by who?
Yep. And then there's another question they
Otra
asked too,
pregunta es,
which says, I know some
o
people
sea, conozco a una persona
that want to help
que
families
quiere ayudar a familias
staying in the police
para
station,
que se queden en la policía,
but don't know all the best ways
pero no saben con las mejores formas
to help.
de ayudar.
Can someone take a family in,
Que puede una persona tomar una familia.
or how can we help?
¿Cómo podemos ayudar?
Yo creo que para responder a la primera pregunta,
Just to answer the first question,
es totalmente descabellado pensar de que no puedo aceptar una ayuda
It's
sabiendo que necesito ayuda,
it's kind of crazy to like
que no puedo aceptar un trabajo ni dinero,
that I would not accept like maybe money or work of something like
Sa-
that I knowing that I need it
sabiendo que necesito trabajo y
Right.
dinero.
and knowing that I need work and money.
También hay que entender
And it's
de
also
que
important to understand
va a haber mucha oposición
there's going to be a lot of opposition
solo por el simple hecho de ser llamados venezolanos.
just for the fact of being called Venezuelan.
Pero realmente el que quiere, hay un dicho para esto.
But there is like a saying for this.
En Venezuela dicen que el que quiere dar no pregunta.
We say in Venezuela that the one that wants to give doesn't ask,
Solamente da.
only gives.
Entonces,
So good.
Oh, yeah.
So good.
Yeah, that's
That
good.
is good. The one that wants to give doesn't ask, they just give.
Yeah, they
Come
said it
on.
was one of the police officials that told them that.
Dijo que uno de los policías dijo eso.
no,
It's like, no.
independientemente la policía o los entes gubernamentales no tienen autoridad por encima del inmigrante, porque nosotros, todos los que estamos ya de este lugar, de este lado, tenemos una solicitud de asilo.
Eso.
Lo que a mí me da la garantía de que yo estoy aquí no porque realmente soy venezolano, sino porque pasé por un proceso y me dieron una documentación que yo debo más adelante defender para solicitar permiso de trabajo y tiempo en el país.
The thing is like the police, they don't have authority to, over the migrants in terms of these things. The reason that they're here currently is because they all went through a process and they have a document that does prove that they have an appointment where they will defend their right to get work permit and a request for asylum.
I think that's so important because you have people that are saying, these are illegals. So could you please repeat? So please repeat that again.
What I say, like for those that are here, they have a piece of paper, a documentation that they have went through the process and requested for a court date where they're able to stand and defend their right to request for an asylum
Mm.
and for a work permit.
Wow. And yo, this thing is crazy. You all, I'm asking you again, for those of you all who can, we can really pray about this situation, really intercede, because we really need to hear God. We want to pray for our mayor. Our mayor just got in office, and I couldn't even imagine the moment I get in office, this thing is handed right to me. All right. So we want to pray that God will bless our mayor with wisdom, give him strategies from heaven, because he's going to need a heavenly strategy in order to help out this problem, to help alleviate this problem. And I know this is a federal problem. This is not a Chicago problem. This is a problem that's federal, but I do believe that even though it's a federal problem, that the Lord will, if bless the mayor with the wisdom, if he so asks, to really help this problem out, because this is crazy. This is crazy. This is, oh my gosh. And so God bless you. I want to just say God bless everybody for coming on. I hope you shared this out. I wanted people to hear just the raw heart of someone that we look at as a migrant or an immigrant, so you can see this is a real normal person who has a normal life, but they wanted something better. Okay. One other thing, somebody has said, was it because of a war that you all were leaving Venezuela?
Okay. Antes de llegar ahí a ese punto, para responder, para aclarar un poco,
Just to bring more clarity to that question,
y vamos a llamar a la lógica.
so we're gonna, go through the logic here.
Los Estados Unidos de Norteamérica
So United States, North America.
es un país que siempre hemos escuchado a los tercermundistas como potencia.
So as third world countries, we have heard as being a powerful country.
Entonces no entra al país quien quiere entrar,
It's not just whoever wants to come to the country that comes to the country,
sino a quien dejan entrar.
or whoever is allowed to come in that comes to
Entonces,
the country.
Siempre ha habido un proceso para X países para entrar
So
a los
there's
Estados Unidos.
always been a process for X countries to get into the United States.
Si estuviésemos de forma ilegal en el país,
So if we were in an illegal way in the country,
ya hubiésemos sido deportados muchos.
many of us would have been deported by now.
Estamos acá y tenemos una documentación
We are here, but we have a documentation
para
That's
defender
good.
un caso de asilo.
to defend a case of asylum.
Cualquier venezolano que usted pueda ver acá
Whichever, like any in Venezuela that you see here,
le puede preguntar por la carpeta amarilla
you can ask them for that yellow form.
y en esa carpeta va a conseguir datos de la persona.
Or it's like a yellow folder. And in that folder, they have like the data of the person. So like the date of birth
Fecha de entrada al país,
and dates of where they came in.
por qué puerto entró,
Through which entry did they come in?
si se entregó o pasó por CBP-1,
Did they surrender? Did they go to the CBP-1 application?
cuándo tiene su corte,
What's the date for their
si tiene una fecha o dos,
court date, and if they have 1 or 2 dates.
nombre del abogado que lo atenderá,
Name of the lawyer that is going to see them.
hora de la corte,
What time they will have the court date.
mes y día.
Month and date.
Entonces, no estamos de una forma ilegal, que queremos mejorar nuestra, queremos regularizar nuestra forma de estar en el país, sí.
Yeah, it's not that we're in an illegal way here in the country, but do we want to like have a stable, time to stay here? Yeah.
Porque queremos mejorar y para mejorar tenemos que entrar en la sociedad.
And for us to improve our state, we have to come into the society.
Y creo que tenemos que mezclarnos con la sociedad.
And I think we have to mix with the society.
Y para lograr eso tenemos que tener documentación pertinente,
And so for us to be in the society, we did have to have pertinent documentation,
como ID,
like ID,
permiso de trabajo,
work permit.
sí, pero me voy a tener un momento acá, ya que me acuerdo,
And
del
now,
ID.
and now that I'm thinking about this, like I'll tell you something about IDs.
Por ejemplo, mi persona
Like for example, for myself,
tenía cita pautada para el 12 del mes en curso
I actually had an appointment for the 12th of this month
para tramitar mi city key o mi ID de la ciudad de Chicago.
to be able to transit and have my ID, the Chicago ID.
Yes. Asistimos a la jornada.
We went through the whole process.
Personalmente creo que se ha estado llevando de una forma errada,
And I think the process has been taking a wrong turn
porque dan 250 cartas de residencia
because they provide 250 letters of residency.
Mejor dicho, atienden a 250 cartas de residencia,
Oh, they basically take care of 250 letters of residency,
pero emiten 1000.
but they only, pero, ¿cómo?
Pero otorgan 1000 cartas. O sea, dan 250 sí, aquí,
Mhm,
¿sí? Deberían ser 250 personas, no más.
mhm.
Pero entregan 1000.
Yeah, but they end up actually giving. So they have 250 applications, but they end up actually providing 1,000
Entonces,
residency cards.
decimos que nos han dicho que este documento
And they say that this document
nos puede ayudar para conseguir algunos beneficios.
can help us to have some benefits.
Queremos regularizar nuestro estatus en el país.
We want to basically have our status stable and issued in the country
Para poder gozar de ciertos beneficios,
so that we can enjoy some of those benefits,
como permiso de trabajo,
like work permit,
poder estudiar,
study,
poder aplicar para cursos,
apply for courses,
poder alquilar carro, casa,
being able to have car and a house,
poder mezclarnos con la sociedad.
and be able to mix with the society.
Pero ese evento del 12 de octubre fue cancelado.
But that event or that thing that I was supposed to have, like that appointment, and on the 12th was canceled.
Los próximos eventos, que era el 25 y 26 de octubre,
And the next dates was 25th and 26th of October.
también fueron cancelados.
They were also canceled.
Entonces pueden imaginar cuántas personas se han acumulado que tenían fecha para el 12, para el 25 y para el 26.
Just can you imagine so many people that had the scheduled appointments on the 12th, 25th, and 26th of October.
Y no habrá más jornadas hasta primavera.
And they will not have any more issue dates until the spring.
¿Cómo van a hacer para
What?
otorgar
What?
ID?
How are they going to like get an ID?
No lo sé,
I don't know how they're going to do that.
pero creo que es un problema mucho mayor.
But this is like a bigger problem.
Por esa parte, creo que hay una
This is
falla
crazy.
ahí. Mientras
And I
no
think-
tengamos documentación, no
and-
podemos
And I think that's where the error is, because if we don't have any documentation,
valernos por nuestras propias fuerzas.
we are not able to take care of ourselves.
Sí, el Estado no me va a mantener.
The state is not going to keep me and maintain me economically,
Entonces, yo debo buscar cómo trabajar.
and I have to find a way to work.
Es lógico.
It is logical,
Y por ley de supervivencia,
and just for survival,
si no me das documentos,
if you don't give me documents,
yo voy a buscar de obtener, aunque sean unos falsos,
and I can even get false documents
porque necesito trabajar.
because I need to work.
Entonces, incurrimos en infringir la ley aún en contra de nuestra voluntad.
So we even risk ourselves to even go against the law, against our own will.
Y esto lo hacemos por necesidad
and then many do based on necessity,
y porque es nuestra única opción.
and it's our only option.
La otra pregunta, ¿cuál era?
What was the other question?
No, that's, I mean,
Man.
I am just this, I mean, you all people of God, you know, if you're watching this or who is watching this, we really need prayer and intercession because y'all, like, this is ugly. I didn't even know a lot of this stuff that he's saying right now. Like,
No sabía de eso.
he can't even get his right to work or anything for 3 years. So how many other people are waiting
Con muchos
3 years
por 3 años o
for that
4 años
particular thing?
para que tenga ese-
They have court dates that are now rescheduled for the spring.
que tienen
So now they got to go
muchos-
through the entire winter.
tienen que ir por todo el invierno.
Like, yo, like
Documentación.
I didn't even realize the depth of this. You all, we really need to really lock in and pray. Because, like, you know, I know Nancy from Hub has said, hey, this is happening on our watch as the church.
Yep.
As the church, this is happening on our watch. It's the truth. We're the church, we're the body.
Yeah.
We claim to know God.
Yeah.
We claim to have all of this power, all of this authority. Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Come on, like you're hearing stuff firsthand right now. And so thank you all for tuning in. You know, I just wanted to allow my brother to be able to speak. I mean, just by him, I had a list of questions, but he answered a lot of the questions just in sharing his story. My gosh. God bless you all. Share the word about it. If you're in the Chicago area, man, they need help. It's what it is. And they're resilient people. There are people too that have a sense of dignity. As you heard them talking, there's a dignity or an honor that they have. You know, these are not peasants. You know what I mean? These are people that have some type of honor about themselves. So please, if you could reach out, you know, I encourage everybody, go down to a police station, because trust me, it looks way different once you get out your car and you go and talk to these people. And these are regular, common-day people. You heard him. He said a lot of them are professionals. Come on, people of God. We you know, we got to step it up. And I know that as we call on the Lord and we go out and we do our part, God will begin to open up the doors for a lot of things. Maybe it's jobs. Maybe it's looking after people. Maybe it may be some job that you didn't even know that you needed done, that you can hire somebody for. Okay? But let's put our heads together. There is I'll leave on this note. Shout out to Jesus Chicago. But there is a page called Help the Migrants. And the purpose for the page is to get people who want to help, right? Not to come and put all the work on one person, but no, just to get people in a place where it's like, okay, let's organize. What's up? What can you do? Go ahead and do it. What can you do? Go ahead and do it. There are suggestions on the page for solutions. One solution I really like, what somebody says is, hey, if churches can adopt a police station. I thought that was an awesome idea.
Actually, I went to Station 12 this morning, and I volunteered as a resident, as a doctor. The medical students at UIC are already they organize themselves. They basically, there's a 501c3 of the Pilsen Food Pantry that they're under. And they organize a group of medical students every Saturday morning. They go to, I think it's Station 1, 12, and 20. These are the 3 ones that they're focused on. They meet with I believe with the city once a week to, express of the needs, that they need a van, they want to go to more places. And they are lacking the support and resources to go to more stations. Today was my first day going. I It was really good just being able to see more than just it's just another patient, but seeing the setting where they're coming from, kids with more runny nose, cold symptoms, but also being able to see some that had issues for a month, like that they've been going through even since Venezuela, and they're coming here, and seeing the access to care, like issues of like, even taking to urgent care and seeing the challenge of that and being able to schedule. And this is what they're doing. They're scheduling with a particular clinic. So there's so many needs besides like physical needs, but also medically, especially being outside in the cold, pregnant women that are like outside in the cold. And finally, we got one of the ladies to get into the refuge house today, but they had to like put a special application and request for this to happen.
And let me say this, doctor, for the record, y'all, she's a doctor. Okay. Now I just want to make sure that people know
Yeah.
that the place that you're speaking from,
Yeah,
it's not just somebody witnessing or somebody like me.
yeah,
She's an actual medical doctor. Why do I think that's important? Because if you're a medical doctor watching, okay, you don't have to wait.
yeah,
If you feel compelled,
yeah.
go out,
Yeah.
go and help.
I
If
can
you're
put a link.
a lawyer,
Yeah, I can put a link with the information if you want to volunteer too.
yeah, put that link in.
Sure.
If you're a lawyer, okay, a lawyer, they can definitely use your help. Things that are being said that you could maybe look over their stuff and help them out. I encourage everybody to think of whatever your profession is, how can you use that skill or that sphere of influence, to help? Because this is crazy. There are thousands of them. All the police stations, the majority of them at least, y'all, this is crazy. And the reason why we're doing this is because it's November. Y'all, it's only about to get colder. Like, thank God for these periods that we're having where in Chicago terms, it's warm, 50 something degrees. But at the end of the day, y'all, you know where this weather is going. We know it's coming to single digits at some point. We know it's going to be a lot of snow. You know it. And so we need to really put our heads together. I'm not professing to know the answers, but I know that when we get out and we start doing things, that's when answers begin to start coming. When you say, I'm going to go out and try to do something. All right. So I bless you all. God bless you. Check out the Help the Migrants page. You have any solutions, feel free to post them on there. I know for certain there's an outreach we'll be doing Monday. We do it every Monday at 5:30 at Pritzker Park. We usually do it between 5:30 and 7:30. We feed people, pray for them, minister to them. And then after that, we leave and we go to different police stations. Okay. I know of someone, I'm going to kind of wait and let them announce it, but I think they're doing an outreach on Thursday. There are other outreaches or people going out throughout the week. So if that's you, go on to Help the Migrants page and post on there. It's a free open page. Post if you're going to do an outreach, or post if you're saying, hey, I want to get a few people together. And let me tell you this, you don't need to know Spanish. I went down there with people that speak English. We didn't have one interpreter in sight. And you know what we did? We got out our phone and we used Google Translate. Okay? And you know who taught me that? The Venezuelans. Because they would come up to me and they say, oh. And they'll type in Google Trans, and talk, and we'll have conversations and I'll find out things, and we try to get some things done. So the language barrier is not a barrier anymore, because you can use Google Translate now to communicate and find out. And another reason why I want us as the church to come out there, because the dope dealers
Mm.
and the pimps, they not waiting. They out there.
Yes.
I've seen them out there. Okay? They out there prostituting, all of that stuff. Church, we can't sit back and just allow this stuff to happen and not step out and do something. Okay? Time is of the essence. Let's get going. Love you all. God bless you. Take care. Peace. Yo, ask them, say, is there a cool way Venezuelans say, like, tell them, like with us, we got a slang. We might say peace, we out, you know, something. What's the cool way that Venezuelans say that?
Para despedir, bueno, nos vemos.
Nos vemos, like we'll see each other.
All right. Tell them it's some little sign they do. They throw a peace. You know what they do. Yeah. That's universal. Okay.
Bye.
All right, y'all. Love y'all. Peace. Yo, by the way, this lady said, thank you so much for this, Philip. I learned so much.